From the Lodge Poker Club in beautiful Round Rock, Texas, welcome to Poker Night at the Lodge. My name is Rick Epstein, along today with Matt Myers. Sorry.
You're good.
Mike Myers is somebody totally else. We're here tonight on a live stream, hearing a little echo there, so trying to figure that one out. But this is Big O. This is Big Mitt, Congress, whatever you want to call it, 5-card Omaha high-low. And it's an exciting game. We've got a lot of great players. And, Matt, you're kind of the expert here. Let's pretty much explain before we get started what Big O is all about. It's a high-low game, but the low has to qualify 8 or better.
Right, absolutely. There's got to be 3 cards less than an 8. Individual cards can't be paired. So if that happens, a low is available. If not, there's always going to be a high.
Yeah. And so we're wanting the screen to look to be full, therefore. So when you say at 8 or low, the 3 cards on the board have to be there, different cards, 8 or lower, in order for there to even be possibly.
Right.
Now you can use 2 cards in your hand for the low and 2 different cards in your hand for the high.
Absolutely.
And what you're looking for, the ideal one would be the steel wheel, a straight flush wheel. Straights and flushes do not work against you in the low, so you can't. The best hand is a wheel, 5, 4, 3,
That's the
deuce,
nut
ace.
low every time.
So-
I've told people this a million times. If all you do is make a wheel every hand and you play this for a living, you're just going to die a millionaire.
Now it's there are some nuances, and we'll get through them in here. Let's go around the table. You know all these guys. In seat 2, we have Don, and you know him quite well.
Yeah, he's been around the game forever. Really, I call him kind of the godfather of Big O here in the Austin area, at least how I know it. He knows everybody that plays Big O, and everybody knows him.
In seat 3,
It's Bill Nelson.
and Bill, and let's go around the table.
I believe seat 4 is Michael Floyd. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll help out here. So seat 1 will be Aaron. As seat 2, Don, as you mentioned. Seat 3, Bill, and seat 4 is Mike.
Yeah.
Mike Floyd. Seat 5 is Chris.
Chamberlain, Diego Diaz.
Diego, or El Chapo, as he has his nickname. I love that name. And seat 7 is
Don Anderson.
and in seat 8 is Greg Vail.
Right.
And he wants to mention www.doublesuited.net, and he's the author of the Scoop series. So he's kind of our special guest here tonight.
Yeah,
And
he's written a couple of books on the subject of Big O, so he's going to be very knowledgeable and dangerous at the table.
So seat 1 is taking a break. You'll recognize in seat 1 there's a large button, and that is the bomb pot button. When the button and that large button collide, we will deal a double board bomb pot. And the way that works in Big O is best hand high, best hand low, regardless of which board you're using.
Yeah, ultimate.
So
Again, if you make the wheel's never going to ever get beat for the low, so the wheel is always going to be the ultimate low.
interesting, though, in players who have not played this game, betting the low isn't always the best. Probably one of the biggest money that I've ever lost in a poker table. I had the wheel, but I split it with 3 other players that had the wheel, and 1 player had the high. For every
Yes.
$100 I put in, I got $12 back.
Yes. And a lot of people, that is a very common mistake, is to overplay the nut low. And if that's the wheel or whatever the nut low may be, when you don't have to put in, that, to me, it's kind of a check call hand.
Right.
When you don't have an option for the high. Strategy in this game is, the key is hand selection.
Right.
Start the hand with a hand that can scoop the pot, that can win both high and low. And if you have no high and you're just piling in money with just a low, you are going to get cut up sometimes.
Yes, and I found that out the hard way at, I believe that was at WinStar, but I think everybody finds that out playing this game.
They do.
And some of these hands early on, the players were a little user error. We're trying to get the players to put their cards. This table, RFID table, was really designed for hold'em, 2 cards to read, and when we give each player 5 cards, the reader has sometimes a hard time. Right now we've got 2 players in here, Chambo and Superfish, and we don't know what they're carrying, but there's a bet and a call.
As you can see, the low is out there, so typically this is going to be a pot that there's going to be, chop, scoop.
Looked like he had an ace. He didn't have diamonds, but yes, he did have diamonds.
Yes.
And then a live 3. So, if your hand, as a low hand, if one of your cards gets counterfeit or on the board it comes out that that's the same card you have in your hand, you still could have a low. You just might have not as good of a low.
Right.
And
that's another reason not to bet the low as hard sometimes if you just have that, because the word counterfeit will come up often.
Right.
And it's going to lose you a lot of money typically.
So you mentioned earlier on you're a starter hand. A good starter hand is where you might have a piece of both the high and the low to be able to scoop. Talk a little bit more about that.
You want to stay away from middling cards, 6, 7, 8, 9s, unless they somehow become suited with an ace.
Right.
So ace, deuce, 3, and some Broadway cards. Wheel cards and Broadway cards is a good mix. Suited, preferably, so you can make the highest or nut flush that you can possibly make.
Right.
But you have an opportunity to win both high and low with hands like that. Now, typically if you have middle cards and you make a full house, somebody's going to have a low. Or
right.
if you make a straight, a lot of times those middling cards don't ever make the nut straights. So you have opportunities to get beat.
Yeah.
So that's why I say stay away from those middling cards as a full,
So this is one of those bomb pots where we're going to see 2 boards. Each player puts a certain amount into the pot, and it goes straight to the flop without any betting after they get their card. So it's basically an ante from everyone into the pot, and it goes straight to the flop. Don is the button on this bomb pot. Two boards ultimate, where best hand high will win half the pot, best hand low will win half the pot, unless there is no low qualifier. Then it's
very dangerous to be in these things without something really nutty. Earlier, before we started the live stream, one of the players had quad 6s for a high and got beat.
Oh, wow.
By a royal flush. So, this
right.
You've got to tread carefully in the bomb pots in a game like Big O. That 5th card, a lot of people are familiar with PLO.
Right.
And there is a certain level of nuttiness to that too, but the 5th card in this game adds so much more, where you're just going to have the nuts show up a lot more.
Oh, yeah. Somebody's going to have the nuts pretty much. With so many cards out, that 5th card is a huge, huge difference. And this game, unlike PLO, is it brings in the low part of it where so much more action. And there you see a raise by the 1 seat. And Don is going to...
Yeah. And, to be honest, when AP raises right there, even though AP is a known gambler, he's not going to... He's earned the right to get called.
So there is no low here on either board, from what I'm seeing. 7-7 deuce on the bottom board, and there's no low on the top board. So the one person is going to win this pot.
Yes. I mean, it can still be chopped. Somebody
Yes.
could have the same full house or straight or something like that. But when a lot of the money like that goes in and you don't have the nuts, you need to be very careful.
AP, otherwise known as Aaron Pullman, in seat 1, and looks to be pretty confident in this one as he shoves a bunch of green chips, and he's going to take it down. As Don says, why didn't my card come?
And if anybody's earned the right to be called in that spot, it is Aaron. He is a gambler. He is not always going to play the nuts.
Right.
And he can be one of the more dangerous players going.
Right.
So.
Yeah, Big O is an action game, even more so than PLO, because you've got the people in there now that are fighting for the low part.
Yeah.
So PLO, high only, you can fold certain hands easily, but in PLO, in Big O, you're always going to have something that's interesting in your hand.
Always.
But the good players are the ones who can get rid of it quicker than.
That's why, to me, if you are going to be a profitable Big O player, hand selection to start the hand has to be of the utmost importance, and you have to show some discipline.
Right.
There are times you're just going to have to fold second nuts.
Right.
But if you start with a strong hand, you don't put yourself in as many bad situations later on in the hand.
Right.
You can play a hand like King, King, Queen, Jack, 10. You're never going to win the low. You're only going to win the high. So some of those hands can play out, and you're going to win some of those.
Right.
But you're going to get scooped too.
What are your thoughts though on playing a hand with only high cards? If it comes high only, you're going to have a better shot of winning that pot, since most of your cards are going to help.
For sure. But again, you're just to me, you're at a disadvantage. I mean, this is a high-low game.
Right.
So I prefer to start a hand with a mixture.
Right.
I find it easier to play an all-tall hand because if you get a board like 10-6-3,
you can get away from it.
You just get away from
it.
You can.
Yep.
The bad thing is a lot of people may have a suited king here of hearts, and then they want to continue to play it, and somebody has the ace deuce of hearts in the situation and is just going to scoop you up.
Right. And talk about the value of hands in Big O as opposed to Hold'em. Most people value. I see people overplay ace king a lot in Hold'em. Aces don't mean nearly as much in Big O than they do in. They're still valuable, obviously, because you know that if you're holding 3 aces or 2 aces and the low comes and you have it, then chances are you're not going to be splitting with anybody. But talk a little bit about the value of ace king and aces in a game like Big O.
They don't hold much value. I mean, one pair is never going to win in a game like Big O. Never.
Right.
Almost. You want 3 wheel cards and 3 Broadway cards.
Okay.
And you want that ace to be suited.
Right.
A lot of people love, to me, what would you say the most overhand played in Hold'em is that loses a lot of money? Ace king.
Right.
Though in high low, Big O, the most overplayed hand is somebody who has ace deuce.
Right.
That gets counterfeited quite a bit.
Right.
And then they end up with 1 pair, bad kicker, no low.
Right. So here's a hand, ace 7-5. As we'll get the players' hands here momentarily, because we're on a 20-minute delay, and we believe we've taught all the players how to put it over their reader. But right now we've got an ace 7-5 on the flop, so there's definitely.
And this would be a great example of having a really good Big O hand of like ace deuce 3.
Right.
So you flop top set and you have the nut low draw.
Right.
So those combinations of hands, if you have ace 10, 7, it's not as great.
Right.
You want that combo to where you can scoop hands. So ace deuce 3 and a face card with the suited aces, double suited aces.
Right.
That has value.
Yeah.
You can make 2 nut flushes. You can make a Broadway. You can make a wheel. You can get counterfeited and still have the nut low.
Right. So let's talk chip values here at the Lodge Poker Club. The red chips are $5. The green chips are $25. Black chips are $100. If we get deep enough, and we'll be going 3 hours, we may see a purple chip that's $500. The other chips you see, the silver and the pumpkin, they're tip chips. Dealers here at the Lodge, no money can be taken off the table, so players have to purchase either tip chips or they can tip in cash. But none of their playing chips can be taken off the player's table. That's just the way Texas has it written in right now. So those are the silver and the pumpkin. We see a flop of 8-9 queen, all clubs. It's going to be very hard to make a low here with only the 8 out there. We'll see it needs to go runner to make a low. And we'll see a player fold, and we'll go on to the next pot. So how long have you been playing Big O, Matt?
Years. 7, 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a game where you started playing it, it's a little more faster pace. You play a few more hands, so it's not quite that grind of playing a 2-card game.
Yeah, I grew up playing in a house game here in Austin. Started in 1984. We played once a week, and this was the game of choice. It was dealer's choice, but it seemed like every orbit, 4 times we'd play big. We called it Big Mitt.
Yeah.
We didn't, Big O has come along. I've heard in Oklahoma they call it Congress. But, I guess in Vegas it's known as Big O, and that's kind of the standardized name. I don't know where Congress came about, but only in Oklahoma I think they call it that. But I call it Mitt or Big Mitt, Big O, you name it. It's 5-card Omaha high-low. Now we're seeing some cards.
Here we go.
Don folds that, and we'll see if some of these other players will be able to see some cards.
You'll see a hand like Chris. That's going to be a playable hand from what I saw.
10-10-6.
See, he's got ace-3, which is typically good, and he's got the 4 with it. Queen, but Superfish has a very good hand. He's actually got Chris in a bad spot here.
So there won't be a low here. Now we're just looking at who's got the best high. We don't know what Mike has here. And they'll both fold. And Mike probably had a 10.
I would assume he did. He bet there.
So have you read, I guess Seat 8 is the author that we have here?
Yeah, Greg Vail.
Have you read his book on?
I have read the first in the series.
So he is such an expert, he wrote the book. He literally wrote the book.
That is correct. And he followed it up with a couple others.
Nice. And that once again, he wanted to publicize www.doublesuited.net. And we want to thank our title sponsor, America's Card Room. If you play online, give them a shot. They are our title sponsor of Poker Night at the Lodge. We've done, I think this is our 16th episode. We've done mainly tournament programs where we tape a final table and then do the voiceover after it. We've taken a shot at some live streams, most recently on Saturday night, and we're going to try Big O. It's a lot more moving parts in Big O as we're seeing right now. We're still trying to get all the players to be able to see all their cards. There's AP, King 9877. There's a lot of middling cards, as you mentioned.
He should fold that. Now, AP doesn't always do stuff like that, but he should fold that hand for sure. If you have 4 cards between a 6 and a 9 in your hand, I mean, you should just lay it down.
And we apologize once again if we're trying to get the cards. We believe after, I think, 2 more hands, we might start seeing cards again. Bill looks down at 10-9-8-7-4. Mike and Chambo.
Wow, every middling card is out there. So who do we have in this? Anybody? No, take him down. Don raised and took it down.
Don will win the small pot. And most of the players are in between 1,500 and I think the top one had 5,500 in seat 8.
Yeah.
So we'll have the.
I mean, this is just a 1-2-5 game. It can get big. There will be some big pots.
This is about 11 o'clock on November the 11th. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. Thank you for what you've done.
Good call on that, Rick.
Yeah, it's a pretty important day.
Very.
Bill looks down at ace, queen, jack, jack, 6. Not too much of the low there. He does have 2 players if it does come, but he's going to lay it down.
Gets rid of it. I mean, that's how hand selection is. King, 10-4. He's coming in for a raise now. Again, I think this is a hand that he hits and continues with,
right?
Or he can just get away from.
Because he's got no chance for the low. And here's
None.
the flop. King, queen, 7. He does hit his set.
So he is going to continue with it. He's going to tell the story here. And there is no, just front door low draw. It does have to be back door, but hearts are there. You can have some sort of wrap.
Yep.
Greg's going to make the call. We don't know what Greg has, though.
There's a deuce, and there's the low could be a back door.
That is still a great card. Now the pot Greg bets into it with the heart. He's just going to call to see if the board can pair for him.
And it doesn't. So hearts will take this down if he has the hearts.
Yeah, and
or a straight, 10-jack.
And if he leads big here, he's just going to get a fold, which is happening.
So the set goes down. Let's talk about a wrap. You mentioned a wrap. Let's talk about what you mean by that, so our fans know. And pardon me if you think it's a little elementary, but I think a lot of people might be watching that never played this game. What do you consider a wrap?
Well, I consider a wrap to be when you have at least 3 cards that are going to be able to make it straight for you.
Okay.
So you're not just open-ended where one end can get you. You have 3, and a real wrap is when about 4 or 5 cards can make this straight for you, no matter what comes in that particular hand where a flop is king, queen. If you have ace, jack, 10 in your hand, any ace, any jack, any 10, any 9,
right,
all those are going to make it straight for you. So that's a wrap. And those are going to get fast played in this game, especially if you have the suit that's out there too. So if you have suited wraps, that's even better. And those are going to be fast played quite a bit. Those people are going to be trying to get in a lot of money.
So we're back to a bomb pot, it looks like. 6-4-3 up top, 7-5-10.
So there will absolutely be a low
yep.
on this bomb pot. You can just see Don's hand. He's got king, king, 8, jack. And on this particular flop, unless he's suited with clubs, and if anybody bets, Don's just going to get away from it.
Looks like no one wants to play.
And in Hold'em, there's a lot more bluffing, I think, that goes on than in this game. This game is more drawing. I mean, if they're in the hand, they have some possibility. People aren't typically floating,
right,
floating flops to get to the turn to set up
to
a
bluff.
big bluff. That doesn't happen. When they're in the pot, they have some sort of hand that's either currently made or they are trying to get there.
Yeah, that's a definitely a good point. And talk about the action factor and the you mentioned already about a wrap and those hands are going to be fast played. What are some other possible hands that what about flush draws and
nut flush draws are going to be very fast played. Typically, people like to get in their money with nut flush draws. A lot of people, we call them combo draws. They exist in all forms of poker.
Right.
But you might play a queen high flush draw if you have the nut low draw.
Right.
So you do have a high hand that can be made and a low hand that can be made. So you have a combo, and those hands typically have value. The nut flush draw isn't always out there, so the queen high might be good in that. But you do have a representative high hand that you can, make that's not one pair. Those hands will get played pretty fast as well, and people will get in a lot of chips when you do have combinations to make.
From the Lodge Poker Club in beautiful Round Rock, Texas. Welcome to Poker Night at the Lodge. My name is Rick Epstein. Along today, pot limit. Matt Myers.
So
sorry, when a player bets 50, Mike Myers is somebody totally else. We're here tonight on the live stream, hearing a little echo there, so trying to figure that one out. In this case, but it'd be
this is Big O.
This is Big Mid, Congress, whatever you want to call it. 5-card Omaha high-low.
Yeah,
and it's an exciting game. We've got a lot of great players.
And most of these guys at this table,
Matt, you're kind of the expert here. Let's pretty much explain before we get started what Big O is all about. It's a high-low game, but the low has to qualify 8 or better.
Right, absolutely.
That's the thing about
3 cards less than
this game.
Individual cards can
as a
be
dealer,
paired.
and I'm a dealer too. I deal one shift a week here at the Lodge, and I enjoy it. But as a dealer in this game in particular, the players will tell you what to do, when to do it, who's winning, how much the bet is. They, like you said, there's always a guy there that knows the pot odds. So when you say the pot a bet or low, the 3 cards on the board have to be there. Different cards, 8 or lower, in order for there to even be possible happily.
Right.
Now you can use 2 cards in your hand for the
you'll
low
start seeing
and
some
2 different
flops
cards
where
in your
there's
hand for the
gonna be
high.
absolutely-
And
There's
what
a
you're
big
looking
bet.
for, the ideal
Looks
one would
like,
be the steel
400
wheel, a straight flush
from-
wheel.
what is that,
Straights
El
and flushes
Chapo?
do not
Yes.
work against
Yeah.
you in the
I
low.
love
So you
that
can't.
name.
The best hand
He
is a wheel. 5, 4, 3
That's the
deuce
nut
ace.
low. Not a grinder. Every time.
So
I've told
he's
people this a
definitely,
million times.
somebody who enjoys
If all you do is
playing,
make a wheel
bingo,
every hand
even
and you
more
play
than
this
that.
for a living, you're just going to die.
He's
a millionaire. Self-professed, not a good
Now,
PLO player.
now
He
it's
doesn't really
it's
like
you know
PLO.
there are some
But he loves
nuances, and
bingo.
we'll get
Right.
through
You know,
them
that-
in here. Let's go around the table. You know
low.
all these guys in seat 2.
Looks like,
we have Don,
seat 1,
AP.
AP.
You know him quite well.
Yeah,
Put one
he's
chip in
been
there.
around, the
That's
game.
either all in
or
or a
red
call.
kind of
I don't know what it is, but
Godfather
he's
of
got.
bingo here in
Looks
in
like
the Austin area,
King.
at least how I know
Does he
it.
have-
He knows everybody that plays Big O, and honestly, I don't know
everybody
what
knows him.
Diego.
In
was
seat
at
3?
there. I mean, it's Bill Nelson.
El Chapo
And-
doesn't have
and
much
Bill
at all.
and,
We got let's
set
go around
in
the
eight
table
with AP,
I
and
believe
they might be saying,
seat
"Do you want to
4
run
is,
it once
Michael
or twice?"
Floyd, is that correct?
Yeah, we'll help out
I don't
here.
think
So
that's El Chapo's
so seat
thing.
1 will be Aaron.
There's no way he would
As
go
seat 2,
400.
Don,
He's
as you
got
mentioned.
his
Seat
king
3,
deuce.
Bill.
Yeah.
And Bill.
Within the
And
heart.
seat 4 is Mike.
Yeah.
Mike Floyd.
So-
See, there you
seat
go.
5 is
Chris
Chris.
Chamberlain, he's Diego Diaz.
Wow.
This
Diego
particular
or El
hand.
Chapo,
Yeah.
as he has his nickname.
That for
I love that
400.
name.
Right.
And then AP.
And seat
You know,
7.
and AP's just
Yeah.
trying to protect
Anderson.
his top set.
Right.
Here
and,
he knows
And seat 8
with the hearts
is
out
Greg
there
Vail.
and
he
two
wants
cards that
to
connect to a
mention
Broadway, that there's gonna be draws out there that can beat him.
www.doublesuited.net,
So he's
and
trying
he's
to
the
eliminate
author
it
of
and get it,
the Scoop
as
series.
heads up
So
as he can possibly
he's
get.
kind of our special guest here tonight.
Yeah,
and
he's
he-
written a couple of books on the subject of Big O, so he's going to be very knowledgeable and
Okay, we're
dangerous
going
at the
to
table.
have some technical
So
difficulties.
seat one
We're
is taking
going
a break.
to
Right back
You'll
with you.
recognize in seat 1 there's a large button, and that is the bomb pot button. When the button and that large button collide, we will deal a double board bomb pot. And the way that works in Big O is best hand high, best hand low, regardless of which board you're using.
Yeah, ultimate.
Ultimate. So
Again, if you make the wheel's never going to ever get beat for the low.
we can go now? Yeah. Okay. Can you put us back on the screen? All right. Thank you for hanging in there with us. I think we fixed the audio issue. Maybe not. Okay. All right. So we're seeing what El Chapo's going to. He's all in. AP's all in for about $1,700, and he folds it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of I mean, you're on a draw.
So what do you think about AP showing what he's got? He showed him the set of kings. They know each other.
They do, but at the same time, he doesn't want the nut flush draw to call.
Right.
He fears the nut flush draw there.
Right.
And so by showing he wants to show him that he does have strength, because when you're making a decision like that, obviously you're going to put somebody on something, but as you've played enough, Rick,
Right.
you never really know.
Right.
And you may make the call. And so AP doesn't really want the call
Right.
there. He would rather take the 400 down.
Big O is a strange game and a strange new land, but what is the etiquette on showing cards?
In this particular group, it's just going to happen. I mean, Diego and AP know each other too well. They don't.
Right.
It's not going to be looked at. Nobody on the table is going to say anything about it. It's just, I would say if you don't know somebody, I mean, you got to come to play and just let them make the decision on their own. But in this particular game, these guys, especially AP and Diego, they know each other quite well.
Now, you've been playing with all these guys, and you said COVID caused a chance. You still got a chance to play with them through maybe an app or two.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the money is still out there for. I think he certainly didn't go all in blind here.
No, he's just waiting to pull it back.
He's waiting for his money to be pulled out, and everybody's saying, well, did he call
Now,
that?
on that hand, if there had been the king and two low cards with two hearts, Diego's never folding.
Right.
He's just going to get it in. That's too big of a combo draw. He had the nut low draw with the ace deuce, the nut flush draw. He's just going to take a shot at that
Right.
point. And there's a good chance they would have chopped. But there's man, a real good chance he scoops.
Yeah.
He gets a flush.
889, and again, once we start seeing some cards, hopefully we'll see them. It'll help the overall program. But again, this is our first time doing Big O, and there's a lot of moving pieces. And rather than keep apologizing, just know that we're working our best to make sure we can see the cards. And Matt and I will try to make it interesting, even though we can't see them. And there isn't going to be a low here. 889 Queen.
I mean, Bill has a very decent starting hand, and he hits the 9, but he fears the 8. I mean, there's no reason to bet it there. The only thing that's probably going to call you is an 8, and so without the low draw, now you get the Queen. This is just going to be checked around unless somebody just has some sort of combination of Queen 8 or, even Jack 10 here probably doesn't bet. They just, they are in a check call mode. They like to get the showdown with some, they do have equity.
Yeah, with 5 cards, when the board pairs, again, a difference in Hold'em and a difference in Big O is there's a good chance that somebody has a boat, and your straight in Hold'em with a board pair is much more powerful than a straight with a board pair in Big O.
Very much so.
As easily said as possible.
You should be in check calling mode in Big O with a straight. If you ever flop the nut straight in Big O, you almost just want to muck.
Right, because it ain't going to hold.
Never. That is the worst hand to have in Big O.
Is when you flop the nut straight. But see, that's what a lot of players who want to give it a try. And we've got a Big O games that aren't nearly as high as this. That if you want a chance to learn the game, you don't have to try out in these nosebleed games.
No.
But what you'll find is the people who are new to Hold'em. New to Big O, they take their Hold'em strategies over and they just get punished. Pocket aces in their hand,
costly
playing
lessons.
straights, flopping the straight and thinking it's going to be good the whole way. It's different hand, characterizations in each game.
For sure, and you should know that. I mean, read one of Greg's books, even just a couple of chapters, and it'll give you a very sound strategy to start with. And you'll have kind of a foundation to be just a solid player,
right? Because it is a fun game. It is a game where you get to see a lot of cards at once. Chances are, you've got 5 cards and you're going to see 3 on the flop. That's 8 cards out of the deck that you're seeing for a relatively inexpensive charge. To see the flop.
Yeah. And there is, Big O is a post-flop game. I mean, it's just, you can't hold. Same with PLO. You don't just. Doesn't matter what your holdings are. You don't hold that big of an advantage over your opponent, no matter what they're holding.
Right.
So you got to kind of see the flop and then kind of assess and go from there. Hold'em, you can have somebody in bad shape.
So, with regards to the game itself, Austin is known for a lot of Big O and PLO players. And Texas in general. I know Houston, I've heard stories of some crazy games going on right now in San Antonio.
A very Big O friendly city, too.
Why do you think that is, Matt?
I don't know. I think there's just sort of a, what's the word? Kind of a
gambling mentality.
There certainly is that here in Texas, for sure. You can go to Vegas and play Hold'em and see the difference between playing Hold'em here versus a 1-2 game in Vegas. It's crazy.
It's not even close, yeah.
Right, and then here I think there is some just some tiredness of Hold'em, and so they like to go to a different game.
Right.
And they see that there's a lot of fun in this game. Like you said, you can see a lot of cards for relatively cheap before the flop, and then the thing about this game is the different combinations of high and low.
Yeah.
That when you're running bad, hell, you might be able to make the nut low every hand.
Right. And this hand will not have a low for sure because there's 3 face cards out there, and it looks like they're going to chop because they both have the straight.
Yeah.
It looks like the magic card was a 10 with a friend, and they both have the Broadway. So they'll chop that up, and the tips will go towards the dealer, and we'll go on to the next hand. And here at the lodge, we're open 24 hours a day, located right in Round Rock off I-35, exit, I believe, 241, Hester's Crossing. It's located right next to a Whataburger in a great convenient shopping center. From 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. every day is free play for all of our players. So come on and play. We have at least 2 tournaments every day. And in February 26th, 7th, and 8th, we are having the $125,000 guarantee $500 buy-in tournament. I believe they're going to have 3 day ones and then finish the tournament up on Sunday. Somebody's going to walk out of here with enough to buy a Cadillac for sure. I think the guarantee is 125, and I've heard there's rumors that they may raise that a little bit. We've done this 2 times, and we've way exceeded any guarantee we've put out there. And
there's not a lot of overlays in the tournaments here at the
No.
lodge. They always exceed.
Very rare that they happen once in a blue moon.
They do.
But it's very rare. That's kind of what we're known for, because we are the biggest room in the area. We can put on some great tournaments with a lot of people. So,
and don't forget, Wednesdays all day is free play if you're playing PLO.
There you go.
Up until the free roll, the Wednesday PLO free roll.
See, and that's that. We're trying to get the PLO up and running. We've got Hold'em tables all day long. We're trying to get the PLO up and running, and that's a great program on Wednesday, the free play for PLO up until the free roll that night. So very good. And, Lodge is a fun place. There's a raise, 25. And, it's a fun place because it's well lit. We got security cameras. We got security at the front. Everybody gets their temperature checked before they walk in here. Everybody has to wear a mask. But the dealers we've got dealers, Matt, from all over the country that have come here because there's no other poker, from Vegas, from Boston. Right. And right now, Texas is the hotbed of the poker community right now. So we've got some quality dealers. I wouldn't include myself being one of them, but there's some quality guys who have worked in Bellagio and Aria, and we're really up in our game here. So it looks like we're down to 2, as it looks like the bet was raised to $90, and we'll go to 2 players.
Yeah, and they have both quality hands. I mean, AP is just going to play
3-3-7.
So this is a hand that AP is going to bet hard, and then Superfish is just going to fold. I mean, he's going to check, and AP is going to pot. AP has the nut flush draw with the nut low draw. There's no way he's not putting in some chips.
Right. And now Superfish does have the nut low draw too, but nothing else.
0 to a high draw.
Right.
I mean, he literally has ace high.
Right. And see, this is where an inexperienced player would say, I've got nut low draw. Of course I'm calling.
A lot of people will too.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me, there are people at that table, and you catch somebody in the right tilt mode or frame of mind, and you're going to get a call there, and you're gonna 3/4 them. I mean, that's the beauty of it.
And it, like I mentioned earlier, if there's multiple players with the same hand, let's say there's 4 players with the nut low, which is entirely possible.
Yes.
So that means you're getting an eighth of the pot back. When they do the split, they'll split, half goes to the high, the other half is split between 4 players. That means you're getting, for every $100 you're putting in, you're getting about $12 back, which is not a good proposition if you're a poker player. And that happens, maybe not 4 players, but definitely you hear about getting quartered, which, talk about what does it mean by when somebody says I got quartered?
Exactly what you said. I mean, and honestly, you're talking about people getting 12th. I mean, the quarter's just when you're getting 25% of your money back.
Right.
And that is a bad spot to be in.
Yeah, and it's a quarter, in order to break even, you got to have 4 players in there putting the money in, and you're at least breaking even if there's 4 players.
And Superfish may have called there had there been a couple of callers in between with the nut low draw. He may throw some money in there, but
definitely not heads up, right?
There shouldn't be any reason to do that. Not if you want to win money. I mean, it's just you got to figure with he had raised pre, and then AP had 3-bet him. So you almost. When somebody 3-bets in Big O, ace deuce is in their hand.
Right.
And then the other combination is just kind of up for grabs, but you can almost put them on ace deuce suited. And then when you don't hit any of your suit and you don't hit anything that resembles a high for you, it's just a good time for you to kind of run for the hills.
Right. So we talked about in Hold'em, one of the most overplayed hands I see as a dealer is Ace King, and we mentioned maybe that one of the most overplayed hands in Big O is Ace Deuce, because they just think they've got it locked, but they've got to have many things happen.
Yeah.
They got to not be able to get counterfeited, and they got to have a low to actually come.
Yeah, the Ace Deuce is overplayed. Ace Deuce, on the other hand, is a strong hand because you're always going to have top pair. And if you do get counterfeited with the ace, you're going to have top set. But just Ace Deuce, like Superfish had there with no, I mean, he folded it pretty easily. I mean, I assume he's just pretty solid. I mean, after seeing that play, I mean.
So the pot is $285 now with the bet from Mike of $100, and it's Ace Deuce 6, so there's definitely going to be a low. A 3 could have counterfeited somebody, and it was the 3 of diamonds. So we'll see what these guys do here, as that 3 could have really counterfeited somebody right there.
Yeah, and the pot's grown to about 400. Just to check down, nobody really has anything super strong.
There's an Ace 3 for the boat, and what is it? He have an 8?
Yeah, he's got Deuce 8, or the Deuce. He's got a live 8.
Live 8,
and that's good
for everything. So there you see what Mike's low was a live 8. He was playing 8 with a friend, and
yeah, and that was a little overplayed by Superfish, as he was just he had no low. There was nothing he could do, and he knew there was a low possible after the flop. He did have trip aces with a big kicker, but unless he pairs up, I mean, he's typically going to get scooped.
So what is seat 5 doing right now? He's writing things down. Are there prop bets going on, or what's going on there?
Typically, there will be prop bets.
That's Chris.
Most of the Big O games that you play in, and most of those just have to do with your pre-flop holdings. So how that works typically is you get a typical 4 to 5 players that want to play props. If you hold trips is the thing. If you have trips in your hand, everybody that's playing the props with you owes you $20.
Okay.
And it goes up from there. So trips, straight.
You don't have
flush,
to be in the hand till the end.
Right.
Okay.
No, not at all.
What do you fold and hold? Or?
Yeah, fold and hold, and make sure that somebody verifies that that's also in the game. They'll show it.
Okay.
Where it can get really expensive is when somebody gets one of those rare hands that you see in PLO and or Big O, where somebody holds like quads.
Right.
And in this game with the 5 cards, you can actually have straight flushes and royal flushes in your hand. So I know the games that we play with the same guys, you're looking at 20, 30 for a straight, 40 for a flush, probably 60 for a full house, 100 for quads, 200 straight flush, 500 for
my
royal.
Goodness.
Now, I've never seen
a
royal or a straight flush.
Right.
I have seen quads.
Right.
And you get 7 people playing, that's 600 and you get them. You're getting $600.
And you just settle up after the game?
Yes, it's all written down. And so the real cut is you get in a game like this and lose $1,500, and at the end of the night you owe another $830 to the props.
Nice kick to the ribs there.
Yeah, but it can save you too.
Right.
You can have some good some run good in props.
That's funny. Well, we will.
Don is Mr. He's Mr. Run Good in props. I don't see him lose very often in props. Another guy that you might see later on here, a guy named Mark Collier, that is big in the Big O scene here. He also runs pure in some of these side things.
So looks like El Chapo will lead out here. He's first player to act, and only 2 players in here as he and Chambo go to the river. River is a 9. There is no low here, but there's a lot of clubs out there.
Yeah.
And Chambo has a flush. El Chapo will bet 100, and
that's going to be a fold with the 8 high flush, and he's going to show him
the nuts. The nuts.
That's a
wow,
royal.
that's a royal.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful, and that's what the players are clapping about. even in this game, a royal is a great hand.
Yeah.
Remember, you must use 2 and only 2 from your hand. You can use 2 different cards for the high, 2 different cards for the low, but you must use 2 in your hand and 3 from the board, just like PLO. But this one is PLO. It's big O. You get that 5th card and it's high low.
Yeah, I mean they play 8-handed, right? So max 8, and you're going to have 4 cards left in the deck.
Right.
So what you hear a lot when somebody takes a beat on a river is, oh man, I can't believe that's a 1-outer. But every card is almost out, so you're going to run into some 1-outers in this particular game. They use 48, every single hand. A lot of times, they will go 9-handed for.
With no burn or what?
Yeah, no nit.
Right.
They'll go 9-handed for the action players at times, and the guy behind the button sits out.
Okay.
So you just miss a hand. And then they do the and then on the bomb pots, when they do the double board bomb pots, to save the integrity of the flop, they won't burn. They'll just rip the flops.
Right.
And then they burn turn a river.
Okay.
If they play 9-handed. But the game is better when it's 8.
Right.
But, if an action player walks in, they don't want to exclude them.
Right, sure. They want to invite them.
They'll go 9-handed. I've seen it many times. If I walk in, they're not going 9-handed.
Right.
I got to wait for a seat to open.
8, 9, 10 is the flop, and AP and Chambo seem to be in the pot again together.
Yeah, AP with the premium hand selection here with ace and trip kings.
Trip kings.
If you have trips in your hand as a guide, go ahead and fold.
Yes.
But AP plays it, and he'll play it strong. Chris here has a good low, but as you can see, nobody's. It's not going to get there, and AP is going to end up winning this hand with ace king.
Would you say, though, that if you had to have trips in your hand, if you had trip aces with, let's say, deuce 3,
yes,
if the low comes,
you'll play
you've got it. It's going to be very hard for anybody. Only one other ace out.
Yes.
So it really gives you a lot of.
Yes.
Now tell me in your opinion the difference between PLO, high low, and big O. The 5th card means the world.
Yes, it does. It adds just an extra level of nuttiness to it. So where a queen high flush might be good in PLO for the high, it's almost never good in big O.
Right.
You're just going to get beat with it a lot. And so, but you are right. Trip aces with deuce 3. First of all, you have 3 of the nut flush draws.
Right.
Even though they're not draws, they don't have the nut flush draws. They can't.
So you must have, obviously you weren't good when you first started. You're getting better each time. What were some of the key lessons you learned early on in this game?
The ace, to not overplay the ace deuce was the biggest lesson. Just having enough wherewithal to check, call, know when you're going to get quartered, figure out that you're putting. If you got to put in $50 to get back 38,
right?
Just save yourself the money and fold.
Right.
But you don't want to do that. You have the nut low.
Right.
And it becomes such a stigma that, the nut low is so great, but it's not.
Do you do that often?
What?
With the nut low you folded?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If that's the only thing I have.
See, I think that would be the hardest thing for a new player to do is having the nuts and folding.
If you have the nuts and you're on the button and there is crazy action to you, multiple ways, somebody else has it.
Right.
Now, if you have the nut low in your second act and you can maybe pot it and the players behind you and you can force them out with the nut low, that's a play you can make. But if you're last to act and all that money's in there, nobody's going to fold at that point. You're not going to get your money back. You have to have the discipline to fold there, or you're just going to lose money over and over and over. And that is to me the most common mistake. And if you catch a guy who doesn't know even PLO, it's the same things apply in PLO when somebody just has that dry ace of hearts and there's 4 hearts on the board.
Right.
They think they have the nut flush.
Right.
You still got to play the 2 out of here. Right. You don't have the nut flush.
Right.
And that's a big common mistake if you get a newbie to this game.
Well, let's talk about that though. The dry ace, for the experienced player,
It's a good bluff card.
It's a good bluff card because as you mentioned, people are going to have the nuts in this game.
Yeah.
And if you've got the dry ace for the flush, it might be a good position.
Oh, absolutely. So Greg here in seat 8 would be a perfect example. The flush comes out, and he just has the dry guy, which it'll be, for called.
Right.
And he has the nut flush dry guy, and there's some action before him. He has the ability to, and the reputation to make a big bet, and he will get laydowns, knowing that they don't have. He knows they don't have the nut flush. It'll be very hard for them to call, and they know with the nuttiness that happens in this game,
Right.
that there's very few times he's going to turn over the bluff. So
See, that's amazing.
that is the best bluff card.
Yeah.
But you do have to have your reputation. AP makes that play, he's probably going to get called.
Right.
But
right.
he's earned it.
Right.
So when he does have the nuts and somebody does have second nuts, he's going to get called way more than Greg's going to get called.
Right. So there is a nut low of ace deuce, and there is a straight. The jack queen makes the straight up top, and they'll chop that one up. But yeah, that's some advanced play, and as you mentioned, I guess it matters who you are if it's going to work or not.
Yeah,
but,
in Big O, the best strategy is play by the book.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the, and you hope to have some run good.
Right.
I mean, if you run good, there's just going to be enough action pre-flop and after the flop with nut lows and stuff like that. And, you hate to have those combo draws like you saw earlier with Diego, maybe who had that flush draw. But if he had a low draw to go with it, you can miss both of those. And most people are just going to put in a ton of money.
Right.
And that's, it's one of those scenarios where you had a lot of outs. We've
Right.
all seen it, and they don't come. So, but the nut flush combo draws with nut lows and wraps and things like that, those are going to get played fast and furious and lead to big pots, one way or the other.
And once again, we're playing Big O here at the Lodge. It's November 11th, moving into November 12th. It's about 11:40 local time. We'll be going on for a few hours tonight. We're trying to work out some kinks, and this is kind of a practice run for us in the Big O. We did a Hold'em live stream on Saturday night, myself and Mike Reisman, and we'll try more of that as we go. But we want to throw in some other games and at least get some video. The video quality is fun, and at least you get to see what a Big O game is all about. And most of the time we're seeing heads up. We're not seeing multi-way action.
Yeah, there's
here.
not a lot of action. Mike
And,
has a decent hand, suited ace with ace 3-4. AP is always going to call this particular situation. AP's king of the trips tonight.
AP is.
But he's going to play ace 3 deuces, especially when the ace is suited. That's going to get possibly raised. There you go.
Again, in this case, he has the nut low, but he also has all the deuces, if you will.
Exactly.
And there's 8-3 king. He's looking pretty good here.
So this is one of those hands that's going to start getting busy because he has the nut low draw, okay, and he knows he's got it with the 3 deuces.
Right.
But Mike is going to have a decent low with ace 4, and he has all the diamonds.
And the diamonds.
So he's not going to fold. This hand is going to get played out.
There's a 4, so the low is there.
And AP made the wheel, and he has 3 deuces, so he's going to, this is one where, Mike, he can make a call, but he's never going to make the low here. He knows.
And now an ace here would be disastrous for AP.
It would not
he'd
be.
win the high, I guess.
He'd win the low, too. He's got the wheel already. He's never going to not have the wheel anymore. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
No, that's not the 5. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, an ace would be very bad.
There's a 9.
So he's locked in.
They're both going to split as long as they remain in the pot. But AP's going to make it very difficult, and there it is. See, that's the situation where a low, somebody with the nut low, and he knew he was basically the only one with the nut low with all those deuces. He could make a large bet, and somebody with a middling high hand would have to get out.
Yeah, has to. Somebody who doesn't want to lose money there. And, the good thing is he – the good thing about AP is he built the pot from the start. So he 3-bet pre. with a hand like that. So when he hits it, he has some money to put in there. Now you're starting to build, and you can start pushing people out with big bets. Had the bet on the river been $40, Mike may call.
Right.
With his hand just to see it.
Right, and in order for a big bet to happen on the river, you have to build the pot.
Yeah, and AP is not afraid to build a pot. Trust me, he is not afraid to get money in. Mr. Don Ichabod is king pot builder. He loves to build them. He loves the bluff. Guys, I know, Chris is going to play by the book. Bill's going to play, by the book. And the funny thing is those guys make money at this game.
Well, and it's interesting, you know all these guys so well, and they know each other. And, if it's the same guy over and over, you kind of know, as you do, how they play. And you just mentioned it. He's going to play by the book. He's going to gamble. And it's fun to see, especially when you get a guy. So now,
Diego, Chris, AP, Don, Bill, Mark, those guys, they play hundreds of hands together every day.
Yeah.
Every day of Big O.
Ace deuce 4 on the flop, so we're definitely going to have a low here. And looks like 3-7, a 70 slick for Greg, which would give him a 7-4-3 deuce ace for the low. We don't know what Don is holding.
Yeah, I'd like to know what Don is holding.
Don makes Greg the bet, 65.
And AP will get out.
AP has a bunch of chips right now. He's probably got over $3,000 in chips right in front of him.
And you can see as we start to see some of the hands played now, AP, his hand selection is different than the other guys.
Yeah.
He's going to play more hands. And everybody there knows it. But AP can burn you.
Right.
Because you can't put him on just ace deuce or ace. He's going to have stuff that you just have to pay him off with sometimes. And that's AP's strategy. But you'll see that the other guys are pretty limited in what they play pre. AP has no limits.
Right. So with regards to the Big O community in Austin, are there games that are playing much higher than this, or
no? This is a high game.
With
the chips on the table now, AP's got what, 3K on the table.
Right.
Don's got over 3K. Greg's got over 5. Diego's got 2K. These games, they're pretty big, but I'd say the biggest games in Austin right now are just PLO games.
Yeah.
There's a couple of big ones.
So it looks like 3 players. We're going to see 3 players go to the flop here. AP, Don, 7-10-10. Pot it.
Don goes 60
the pot. And AP looks at his cards, wondering what he's going to do. And he's going to fold. AP thought somebody made a bet behind him, in front of him, so he's going to fold.
Same thing holds true here in this game as you would in Hold'em 2. Don was the pre-flop aggressor. He can bet there. If nobody has a 10,
right,
they're probably going to fold.
Right.
And if they do have a 10, they'll typically let him know by raising. Calling also looks very suspicious there. But if they don't, Don's just betting, okay. And it's a good bet because they're not likely to have the 10. So Don's very astute, and he's going to do that 9 out of 10 times, especially in a situation where it's like a paired board. If somebody had called your pre-flop raise and the flop comes deuce or 3-3, those are cards that are typically in everybody's hands that's calling a raise.
Right.
So you're a little more weary about leading out big bets.
Right. Interesting. So we'll go on to the next hand. Again, this is the Lodge. Poker Night at the Lodge. The title sponsor is America's Card Room. If you do play online, give them a shot. If you want to play here, we're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. It is free play. This is I believe our 16th episode of Poker Night at the Lodge. Check us out on YouTube under the Lodge Poker Club. Big things happening in February. And we've got big things happening every month, but in February, the $125,000 guarantee $500 buy-in Hold'em tournament. Somebody's going to walk away with a bunch of money, and it's going to be fun. I may even enter that one, although I might have to work. They usually have all hands on deck for dealers.
I think in the big tournaments here they offer a lot of value.
Yeah.
For a relatively low buy-in.
So
three-way action here. Nobody has ace deuce. Everybody's got ace three.
Bill might. So we have 10, 8, 4, 2 hearts, and Mike flops the nut flush draw.
Yeah, so Mike's not going anywhere. He's got nut and second nut draw.
Yeah.
I know Chris may stick around with top pair. He's also got hearts as a backup. They're 5 high, and he also has ace 3. AP, who knows? He's got ace 3, but he doesn't really have any reason to be in here from a high perspective.
AP
Chris
and Mike
showing some discipline. AP's. Let's see what the turn brings.
Turn looks to be
the deuce.
Deuce of clubs. So now the ace 3 is the nuts low.
Yeah, and they both have that.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a very good scenario where a lot of money can get in because they both have nut flush draws and the nut low.
So Mike is going to re-raise the 150.
And AP's going to get it in. He's not going to fold.
All in and a call. So now, basically, what is Mike free rolling here?
No. No. If a club comes,
sorry.
AP, and now Mike's just going to get 3/4 of the pot.
Mike is going to get 3/4 of it.
Yeah.
So yes, AP had the nut flush draw also with clubs. So you're right. So a heart comes, 3/4 goes to
a club comes.
Yes. Okay.
And then AP, I don't know if he had a pair. I don't know if either of them had a pair, and so AP was winning with ace king.
Yeah.
So if anybody was free rolling there, it would have been AP. But I mean, there was just too many cards either way that could make or break the hand.
So AP puts his hand out, even though he lost 3/4 of that pot.
Yeah. So a quick way to do that in this particular game is you just take Mike's remaining stack and cut it in half, and AP will ship that to him, and then they will 3/4 what's in the pot. It's quick. That's the little workaround. So if Mike had 1,000 left, AP will peel off 500, ship it to Mike.
Right.
And they'll quarter what's in there already.
So
nice hand by Mike, though. They both had essentially the same hand. Nut low and nut flush draw.
Right.
And Mike just got there. And that's typically what you can see when you win a big pot like that. That's some of the run good that exists.
And sometimes in those situations, like you mentioned, if a non-heart or non-club comes that doesn't match anybody's hand, then AP would have won 3/4 with a high of ace king.
Yes.
Which, how that would have been brutal.
Yeah.
You like to see one of them hit the flush there. You don't want to see somebody win high with garbage. Right.
AP does, but the other guys are.
And you might notice that there are some phones tuned in to the live stream, but we're on a 20-minute delay, so the players are not able to see the cards, even though we're not able to see cards right now due to some technical difficulties, so they certainly wouldn't be able to. But if they are watching, it is a 20-minute delay, and it's more so that they can watch themselves on the YouTube. It's fun,
It is. Everybody. I talked to a couple guys yesterday from Ohio that came in just to play on a live stream here in Texas.
Really?
Because they did say what you had mentioned. Every card room is shut down. I mean, Texas is the epicenter right now for live poker.
I mean, I don't know how many have opened up in Houston. I know Johnny Chan was on our Poker Night at the Lodge podcast, and he said he was going to get involved in a poker club, and I heard he's part owner of one of the ones in Houston.
It wouldn't surprise me.
And lots of clubs in Houston. Of course, it all started here in Austin with the Texas Card House, and then the Lodge came along, and it's all been, so many here in Austin. Some have come and gone. I think the Lodge is something different in that, what attracted me about the Lodge is the lighting, the security, and the fact that I didn't feel there were as many pros in the room. There are people who earn their living playing cards in the room. I'm not gonna say there aren't, but it just seemed like this room had more of a relaxed atmosphere, more recreational people wanting to play and gamble and have some fun.
Yeah.
Rather than so tight-laced and nobody says a word and everybody's got their headphones on. To me, poker is a social game. That's why I don't play online. I just don't get enjoyment of it. I think it's more a social game, and a conversation is always fun.
I agree with you wholeheartedly there. And another thing that the Lodge has the biggest advantage, well, the location for some is always big.
Right.
They have the absolute tournament game on lock. Nobody does the tournaments that the Lodge does, and frankly, there's a mixed bag of player everywhere, and a lot of them love tournaments.
Right.
They prefer tournaments.
Sure.
And the Lodge offers free rolls, low stake tournaments, as well as some of these bigger events.
Right.
So they give you kind of an option to choose from, and they do it on a nightly basis.
I think last night's free roll, $4,800 went to the winner.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
It was bananas.
I mean, of course, when somebody says a free roll, there were a bunch of buy-ins to make it reach that amount. But you could conceivably come in here for $25 and walk away with $4,800.
Absolutely, it happened probably 5-6 weeks ago.
Yeah,
who you've seen on some of the content here, Dillip.
Right,
he did it about 5 weeks ago.
That's amazing.
He won the free roll on the free roll.
That's great. I like Dillip. Dillip's a good player, but 100 is the bet now. AP looking at King, Queen, Jack, 6-4. Not much of anything there, and he'll make the fold. Yeah, it's. I think also the idea behind the tournaments, because the Lodge likes to spread tournaments because after the tournaments some of the players will sit down and play cash, and it's a good thing for the Lodge and it's a good thing for the players. Some players will just leave after the tournament, which is fine. We've got a lot of players who whenever I talk to people about poker, are you a poker player? Cash tournament, that's kind of the question. Do you play cash or tournament? But I think everybody likes a tournament every now and then. Some players like tournaments all the time. I'm kind of one of those that I'll play an occasional tournament, but I like the cash game.
I'm with you.
For some reason, the cash game allows me to play in a little different style. Tournament to play, it takes so much patience.
Yeah.
You got to play the whole game.
It takes time too. If you have a life, there are times where you need to get up and go.
Right. and the other part of it is in the tournament play, it's interesting because you could play the whole day and the whole night and bubble and not have anything to show for it.
That's terrible.
Whereas cash, you could play 20 minutes and get up and leave, or you can play all night. And we've had players in the cash game that, since we are open 24 hours, who play all day Saturday into Sunday. So ace 5-8, there is going to be a low if somebody has 2 to go with it. And it looks like we've got heads up between the author and El Chapo. El Chapo will lay it down, and the author will bring it down. That's Greg Vail. Remember, www.doublesuited.net. He's the author of the Scoop series, and I like that name. That's one of the the best 2 words in Big O, nut. When you can say nut, that means you got the best low and the best high.
It is so good. Another bomb pot coming up. Relatively low tonight in terms of, I've played in some of the games with these guys where, we're doing $25 bomb pots, but tonight it looks like it's 10 only. So 80 in the pot to begin with.
It looks like El Chapo is playing online and live, and
most of them are.
He just can't get enough.
Bill Nelson, same thing. Don's always on. I've played more.
Do you think they're playing each other online too?
Yes.
They just can't.
They all play. I've played them.
That's funny. Top board is 6-5 deuce, and Frank is one of the better dealers here at the Lodge. The bottom board is 6-3-9. So the thing about bomb pots too is if you get a hand where you have the same two cards could work on both boards. That's always fun too. So now we can see a bunch of cards here.
Go.
I don't know what the holdup was, but whenever we can see cards, you can imagine how many moving pieces there are in trying to get all the
5 cards.
Yeah, with all these. So another deuce.
Check through
on the top board, and looks like a 10 on the bottom board.
Anybody have a flush worth noting at all? Well, nobody does. We can't see a couple of the players' holdings, but
so there is no low on the bottom board, and there is a low on the. Actually, there is a low on top board. Yeah. 6-5 deuce. So there's definitely a low there. Well, we'll see who wins.
There's only
this.
a club flush, but I mean, I know Greg had a set of 3s. He's willing to check that down. Trust me.
Ace 4-5 would be a good hand. Ace 3-4-5.
Yeah, Ace 3-4 would be.
There's Ace
4.
The 4 is a kind of a magic card there. Don will win and throw the dealer Frank some
very
tip
anticlimactic
chips.
bomb pot.
Yeah, these bomb pots haven't been much tonight.
They can be. I've seen bomb pots, and I've been a part of bomb pots where I've had a straight flush and lost. Seen some good steel wheels in bomb pots.
Yeah.
I've seen a bomb pot where the guy had the royal flush on top and quads on bottom.
Wow.
In an ultimate game, so it's like he's just beating himself.
Wow. So we'll go to the next hand here. Thank you for joining us on our live stream, Poker Night at the Lodge. And as we do these live streams, we'll have more of a chance for you to participate in in a live chat. We know so many folks like to chime in and talk about how a player played a hand, or maybe how bad of announcers we are, and that's good too. And we'll get that up and running probably next time with our live chat. Frank will give the flop of King 5-10, 2 clubs, only 1 low card. Check over to El Chapo, who's on the button, will make it 20, the pot, and he'll get it. So not much action right now.
No.
And you find that the case, Big O, or I mean,
it does seem that way. Like I said, it's a post-flop game, but
yeah.
when there's no raise, typically you don't have, these ace deuces and stuff like that. So people are playing cards that I would say are marginal, and they're just looking to hit a flop real big. And if they don't, they can just get away from it. In this particular scenario, everybody had limped, so you're looking at people that are playing probably that same kind of strategy. When you start seeing some raises, then people are going to have some of these premium holdings.
So I'll read. Looks like we've got a few people on the live stream. Ace 9 7 5 3. Going to be a low here. Not much betting going on.
Yeah, Bill's going to play that suited. Non-suited ace, but ace 3. Chris folds. El Chapo's in, but it doesn't read, so no clue what Diego has at this point.
Looks like the bet is 30, and looks like
Don's got a playable hand with the ace deuce.
Mike looks down and he'll fold. So it looks like 3 players will go to this flop. $100 in there. Flop comes King Jack 8.
Rainbow, so it doesn't really hit. I don't know what. It's hard because we can't see what Diego has, but it doesn't hit Don or Bill. So this is a likely. Oh, Don wants to play a little bit.
75 bet by El Chapo. Don calls. There's another face card. Looks like that's a queen of spades, I believe. So now you got 3 Broadway cards out there. And they're leaving the money in front of AP's head needs to move. There we go.
Diego makes a pretty big bet. Looks like 225.
Yeah.
Don's got to look. I mean, I don't think Don has a straight here. I think Don was probably going to give it up. There you go.
And we'll see. He shows just ace jack of.
I believe it's the nuts again with the clubs.
With the clubs. Yep. He loves those clubs.
That's a big O player. You love whatever you're hitting.
Frank is one of our better dealers. He's dealt in Vegas. He's dealt on cruise ships. When I first started here, I really watched how he handled the cards. As a dealer, you watch different things, kind of like if you're an offensive lineman in football, you tend not to watch the ball carrier. You tend to watch the offensive line and how they're doing their technique. It's kind of like when a dealer watches another dealer. It's kind of fun, but he pitches well. And I guess from a player's perspective, what you're looking for the dealer in this particular game is accuracy and able to keep the game flowing.
Yeah, you want people that can give you the information you need right away in terms of the numbers in the pot.
Right.
And move the action and be able to get the cards to you fast and chop the pot fast.
Right.
And Frank is one of the best in terms of speed. He does a real good job in that. He doesn't have a lot of slip-ups.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you can imagine when a pot gets expanded, from a dealer's perspective, if you lose track of the pot, it's
yeah, they
it's
typically
be hard.
don't. I mean, Frank's going to stack the pot,
right?
As he sees in twos because of the chop, the chop
right.
factor. So here we go. Now we're going to be in some 3-bet pots, and AP's getting another adult beverage. Or I'm sorry, that might be straight cranberry. I don't want to assume there, AP.
AP just looks like a nice guy. Never met him before, but he just looks like one of those guys that just is pretty personable and just.
Everybody likes AP. He's a super nice guy, but most of these guys are.
Yeah. Well, if you play with each other as much as it sounds like y'all all play,
yeah.
You're not going to let a jerk play in your game very often. If they play once, they may not play again.
There are some, trust me. And you can be a jerk as long as you're loose.
Right. That's funny.
If you're a bad jerk,
it reminds me of the old saying about college football coaches. You can be loved and lose. You can be hated and win, but you can't be hated and lose.
No.
And so that's kind of the
unemployed
thing. Yeah. So that's kind of the thing with poker players, and they'll let you play if you're loose, if you're not the nicest guy in the world, right?
Yes. Here we go. So we got 105 or 120 or 130. AP calls. Obviously, that brings in Chris, and Diego's calling. He raised originally. We're going to see one.
I think this is the first time we've had 4 players go to the flop.
So you got 520 in this pot before we can make or before there's a flop.
5-9 queen, 2 spades on there, only 1 low card. And we'll see what's going on. Again, I'm sorry about not being able to see the whole cards.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the fun of this game. But we're trying to work out some kinks, and this is kind of a test run for us.
And the 3-better's in position here, so I think it's Superfish. Let's see what he does. They're all going to check to him probably. He's got.
It looks like about 300, 325 is the bet.
AP's going to assess the drink, then his hand.
Looks down and wonders.
Yeah, I mean, AP's live tells are
legendary, huh?
Well, I mean, he's shaking his head no. He's not calling, and that worked to perfection.
His drink looks really good. I might go ask him if we can get some back here, but I don't know what that is, but kind of the color and the ice and everything looks good.
Superfish picked up 390 there with no problem.
And looks like here at the lodge, the local ordinances, everybody has to wear a mask. The spike in COVID, we're just hoping that we can stay open, continue to stay open, and it's crazy how it's going up. But we do everything we can. We wash the chips. We check everybody's temperature. We sanitize.
It just happened today.
Yeah.
Rosa said they did a deep clean today.
Yeah. So we try to do our spot, and I think the big thing is masks. I felt much more comfortable when we required everybody to wear masks, and it's no big deal to wear one. We've all worn one for now almost a year now, and it's just not a big deal until this crap is over with. So we'll go to the button, AP, look at his cards, and see if he wants to throw 5 in or put more in. He's going to raise it up. It's now $60 in the pot. We'll go to the flop.
AP definitely wants to play.
Ace 4 9 with 2 low cards and 2 diamonds. Don first to act. He checks. And we'll be back to AP on the button. He's going to look at his cards and decide what he wants to do. He's going to put some money into it. And before he puts his money in, Don folds. So we've got 2 to the flop. 2 to the turn. Turn is the 8. So there is a low out there. Ace 4 8 will be a low, and we still have diamond draw, straight draws out there. And
here goes AP.
AP will bet the pot. Looks like 155. And
we can see AP's hand is ace deuce 5 6 9
with diamonds.
With the 9 high diamond draw. So
Yeah.
at this point he has the wheel. And the 3 makes the wheel. AP, that's the best card. I believe he makes wheel 6.
Yeah.
No. It's just ace deuce 4,
yeah.
right? So
he's got nut with the wheel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wheel's nut, and Bill is probably thinking.
And AP's telling him that right
Yeah.
now. Don't call unless you want to lose money.
That's a perfect card, and AP's going to show it. He's never going to fold it face down. He's going to let him know that he did have it. Watch. There you go. It's just different. AP needs to save some of that stuff and let him wonder one time.
But if he'll fist bump. He fist bumped when he lost a pot earlier, and he fist bumped when he won a pot. So you got to love a guy like that.
Absolutely.
He's just happy to be here, and somehow I don't think the money is going to hurt AP one way or the other.
No, he's here to have a good time. He is in the same vein as you were speaking about earlier. He's here to socialize,
right?
Have a good time, play some cards, gamble a little bit,
have a drink.
He's not playing with the mortgage money,
right?
So, and we have, it's kind of a tight-knit group of Big O players here in Austin. San Antonio, again, is a big community, and they come up, too, from time to time. And I know there's a lot of players that go down here. But AP is certainly one of the more liked guys. They make games around AP at times.
That's funny.
But he has a good time.
Yeah. The author, Greg, has not played in too many pots tonight.
He's not here. He's not going to get out of line. He's just going to, if he runs card dead, then he's just going to be card dead. And
right.
He's not, he's probably not going to just force action because it's hard to. But when he gets in a hand, he typically has some sort of, nice little hand.
Did flop a flush draw with the 10 deuce of hearts, but he's going to fold that. Ace 3-6 is the.
Yeah, AP is going to stay in with hearts in this 4-5. So if somebody bet with 50, he's calling. He's open-ended with.
Mike also has hearts with a better low, I believe, with the deuce 5. Yeah.
Yeah, still not the nut low, so you're always wary somebody has deuce 4. And
right.
AP, he raises. Nice. I wish I knew what Superfish had. Superfish may have deuce 4 here, and if he does, he may not let it go.
Got Mike out, who had him notched on the low end.
Yeah.
And so now AP is looking real good, depending on what Superfish gets. 10 of diamonds on the turn. Again, AP's playing 6-5-4-3.
Yeah.
Ace.
And Superfish should check to him. And then what AP the raise on the flop allows him to do is check back, which I like. That's a nice little play there. It lets you see 2 cards, but still building a pot. So if you do hit on the turn, you can hammer it, or you can get a free one.
And AP shows his live 4.
And he's also got. So yeah, this guy had aces up with the. Did he have the hard draw? Did he have ace 3? No. So yeah, they just chop it up.
No, he did have he had a deuce. So yeah, he had the live deuce.
He had the nut flush draw.
Yeah. So we'll go to the next hand, and again, we'll be at this for a few hours, just past midnight. Now it's November the 12th, 2020, here at the Lodge Poker Club in Round Rock, Texas, just off I-35 exit. I believe I want to say Hester's Crossing is the exit you'd get off. It's just north of Austin in Round Rock, and probably
both ways.
Yeah, probably about a
15-minute
drive to downtown Austin. If you're at this time of night, it take you about 15 minutes to get to downtown Austin on I-35, and
yeah, conveniently located.
Convenient. It is convenient because it's right off the highway, and
yes.
We've got massage girls here. We've got food can be delivered here. We used to have, before COVID, we used to have food every day catered, complimentary food. It started at 2:00 and went all day, and it was good food. But then COVID came, and we were unable to continue that. As soon as all this stuff passes, we'll bring back the complimentary food, the players loved it. Tuesday night they brought in Chick-fil-A for everybody, which is always a big hit. So now you have the flop of 10 King 5. Low is going to need a back door, and you've got some straight draws up there.
Here goes AP. Mike has the same, but no low, so he usually gets away on a big bet. Everybody, yeah. And Chris folds.
So
AP takes it down with just some aggression.
Never good when you have ace, deuce, deuce, and no low comes. It's not a good hand.
Yeah, Mike had ace, deuce, 3.
Yeah.
It suited ace, 2, jack.
But, it does make more sense, though. If let's say you've got 5 cards that are low, ace, deuce, 3, 4, 7, whatever, 5 cards in your hand, that means the chances that means there's less low cards that could come on the flop. So,
yes.
Sometimes it's not the best to have, 5 low cards in your hand, a wheel in your hand.
No,
because,
but the same can be said for the high cards.
Yeah.
And if you're going to choose one hand over the other, I want 5 low cards versus 5 high cards.
Right.
Because you have a chance to scoop.
Right.
5 high, I don't care what the flop is, you can't scoop
right.
if there's a low.
Right. An AP.
See, Greg simple laydown, 7-7-6-6.
Yeah.
I know people that would play that hand for 20.
Right.
Greg doesn't even cross his mind.
And
Bill's going to play ace, king, 3-3, especially suited. Mike, queen, jack, did Mike play that? Queen, jack, 10-10? With
flop
the spades?
Comes ace, 4, king with 2 spades.
This is one of those hands where Mike can really take it down by just showing some aggression. I don't know what AP has, but against Bill's low got counterfeited, and he has top 2.
And here's what we'd call this a wrap, jack 10 queen.
Yeah, he's got a Broadway wrap with flush.
So that means any jack, any queen, any 10 will give him a straight.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking earlier about a wrap.
Now he's holding some of his outs. He's got 2 10s, but any of those cards come.
3 brings in the low and a set for Bill now.
And he goes from top 2 to set, which really isn't any improvement. So basically, top 2 to me is the same as bottom set.
Yeah.
In this particular game. And Mike still got the
AP looks like he's betting a buck and a squirt,
he's got to have
125.
a hand. I mean, AP's got to have some form of low, and I think people are going to lay this down. I mean, Bill may call, but Bill can't win any. He cannot win anything from the low.
He's only playing for half.
He lays it down, and see, and I think Mike should lay this down, but he's going to go ahead and call. I mean, because he's still on a draw. He essentially needs to hit
A draw and only for half, and he does not hit.
He does not hit. And so one more bet and AP is going to win. I mean, Mike has a pair of tens. That's his hand. So if AP bets, this should be an insta-muck. Yeah.
Well, that was at what point, in Mike's situation, there wasn't a whole lot of money in the pot, and he's only playing for half the pot.
Yeah, and once Bill folded, he needed to fold.
Yeah. So.
But it's hard when you're drawing to the nuts.
Right.
And you got that wrap.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing.
Right.
You don't want to do it.
Right.
To me, the most overplayed hand in all of poker, Hold'em,
Yeah.
is the nut flush draw.
Okay.
People will put their children in the middle
Right.
to see the fifth card.
Right.
They're not going to go anywhere
Right.
till that fifth card is. And when you have that same scenario, it's just hard to lay it down sometimes.
Right. No,
But the math just isn't there. The equity's not there for Mike. He's only playing for half. He's still drawing to it. It's different if he had the nut high already.
Right.
And he's locked up.
Right.
Yeah,
But
he's drawing.
He was drawing and drawing for at the best half.
Yeah.
So it's kind of AP was in good position there to make that bet.
Another bomb pot. Let's see if we can get a little more action on this one. There's going to be one that's going to be it's going to hit about 4 people right in the face.
We haven't seen that yet. Now, before we went on air on the live, we saw some huge pots. I don't want to say anybody's camera shy, but 7-5-3, 2 diamonds, then Ace-8, King, 2 diamonds.
So the low is there for sure. There is going to be a low.
If you got diamonds here, you could have a possible swooper here if you see diamond.
Yeah. Me particularly, I don't like to see diamond because there's too many diamonds.
Right.
I want to see them on one board, not
Right.
on 2 boards.
Right. That'd be fun though.
Just decreases your outs.
80 is the bet. AP looks down, very expressive in his head nods. Masks nowadays, hide so much of your face.
Yeah, especially
And,
when you couple them with sunglasses.
Yeah, and some people put hoodies on. You can't see anything. But it's interesting how poker's to the point now where the mask, it's just part of the game.
So we still don't know what Diego has, but Mike has ace, queen. He's got ace deuce. So Mike has the nut low.
There's a 3 now, so now we've got a pair of 3s up top. Still ace, king, 8, 9 on the
Mike's
bottom.
just essentially, and good check back by Mike. Diego obviously doesn't have. Now that's a stinger because the nut low by Mike just got counterfeited.
Yeah.
So ace 4 going to be good. Well, he did not check it back. Did he make a hand?
Looks like 250.
He has an ace. So he has trip ace. Does he have a boat on the? Is there a trip ace out there?
There's
Yeah,
no.
the top board is ace ace. So Mike has ace 7. He has a full house.
Yeah.
Or ace 8. I'm sorry. And then he has a live ace at the bottom. So that's worthy. That's worthy of a bet, especially when Diego checks on the turn. That's kind of giving some weakness there.
So we'll go to the next hand, and every orbit is a bomb pot. And we're here at the Lodge Poker Club in Round Rock. Rick Epstein, along with Matt Myers. Matt is a longtime Big O player and knows the game quite well, and we really appreciate you being part of it. I know you've been a part of other poker broadcasts before, specifically in the mixed game variety. So we'll call on you from time to time if you want to come back. We'd love to have you.
For sure, I enjoy Big O. I mean, that's my favorite. That's my game of choice.
Would you rather be out on the felt right now playing with these guys?
Not necessarily with these guys. I mean, there's some tough guys out there.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's another table right behind it, a couple tables back, that is also playing Big O here at the lodge.
Yeah.
And they're ready to come in if a player drops. They're ready to try their hand on this game. But it's good to see multi tables of Big O.
Yeah.
And that's how you build a following. Some clubs kind of are known for certain things. We're definitely known for tournaments and Hold'em. We want to get the mixed games up there too, and we want it all. and the lodge can do it all because
they're a big enough facility,
big enough to do it.
Yeah,
and big enough, And there's a lot of good poker clubs, and I just the dealers here and the staff is top notch. So here's the flop, 6-3-4. Looks like ace deuce. AP's got the nut low right now, and the pair of sixes, pair of queens also. But we'll see what AP does.
He's gonna bet it if Greg checks to him. I mean, he likes the fact that he has nut low, and he likes that he has queens. He may think that the queens are good,
but he is playing against the guy who wrote the book.
Yeah, sometimes that don't mean anything. Phil Ivey loses too,
150, and Greg, who we can't see his cards, gets called by AP. There's a 7. And AP just
no flush coming, and this is one of those hands where you need to be very careful if you're AP, because Greg could likely have an ace deuce as well, and then if he has deuce 5, you're beat,
right?
And the good thing about Greg is he's always got the chips back to hurt you. So
9 doesn't do much there, otherwise just makes the straight higher, and there's a $400 bet by Greg.
Let's see what
AP's going to call it.
Yeah, he doesn't lay down much.
Let's see what Greg has. First chance we've gotten to see
there
Greg.
It is, the ace deuce 5. So he has exactly what I thought he had.
He's going to get 3/4 of this pot.
Of course, and that's why I tell you the AP needs to be careful, because Greg is not going to bet right there into AP without something like that.
Just the way he laid those cards out and spread them out in the way he did was just, you just know he's played a lot of Big O. And
yeah, I mean, AP, essentially AP can actually fold there if he really, I mean, he's not going to.
Right.
But he can if he thinks about it and wants to, because there's just no way Greg is betting anything other than what he had, really. I mean, he's not. I just don't see where he would bluff into AP with anything other than the nut high there. So at the best, AP is only going to be getting half his, just chopping the pot, getting his money back.
I love it. They loved your comment. People will put their children in the middle. We got a comment from the live stream. I like that. I nominate Matt for future commentary. Hey, we just said that. Matt's doing a great job. He's got a lot of experience. We'll I guess, Matt, your mom is watching.
My mother is deceased.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry
it's
about
that. A lot. I had very old parents.
Okay.
They were.
That was my chance of making a joke that somebody making a comment was related to you.
Yes.
No, we're going to have Matt back on, and we've got a lot of group. We've had Mike Reisman; he's our main commentary for Hold'em. We've had Corey Siegel in helping us out with Hold'em, and we need all the help we can get because Joe Piccirillo and myself, I'm more of a poker enthusiast. I've been playing for 35 years, but I'm more of a guy who just plays for fun.
You see, Greg put in $5 with this. He had a really bogus hand.
Right.
And when AP raised it, I mean, just insta-muck.
Yeah.
Just the hand selection from Greg is tough. And he would have probably hit that pretty good. But AP's hit it pretty solid as well. So AP's not going to go anywhere with his nut low draw, as we've seen.
AP seems to have ace deuce every hand.
He does. But Bill has it here, too, and he's got the pair of fours. So him and Bill are going to battle. AP's going to bet it. I don't think Bill's going to raise. But I think it's just a call's going to be here. And Bill's got position on him. Let a second pair roll off for Bill or something like that. Then we may get.
There's a king for
AP.
AP.
Just takes the lead. Now AP with that card, AP is definitely going to bet it again. And typically after a few vodka cranberries, AP only knows one word in the English language while
Pot?
playing. Yes.
Vodka cranberries. Two vodka cranberries equals pot.
Yeah. Yes. And when his hand improves like that, he's got every right to pot it. I mean, he's feeling good. So
Exactly.
nice hand, AP. You had the goods there. You know, in a hand like that, I don't even think AP wants to see Bill fold. I mean, he wants to, you got a guy who, you have a chance to three-quarter somebody. You want to get that money in.
Maureen says she laughed at my mom joke. Thank you, Maureen. I need all the help. It's getting late, and we appreciate the people that are watching. There aren't too many people watching. We're not worried about that right now as we're building our community. We've had some of our episodes of Poker Night at the Lodge have as many as 7,000 views. We'll get there. We're starting our stream out. We've got great equipment and we've got great people working it. Dave Klaproth runs the show here, executive producer. But there's a lot of moving pieces, and until we get perfect, then we'll start worrying about our viewers. We'll just try to do the best we can and hope you enjoy at least seeing some of the action and guessing along with us when we can't see the whole cards. AP looks down, always with an ace in his hand. He's got ace, queen, 10, 10, 8, and we'll call the
He
bet
just
from
called
Mike.
because he didn't have ace deuce. Mike raises though, and he's like, all right, we're going to see a flop. He's a flop player.
There's Broadway flop as AP has a key card there, the 10.
Yeah.
And
he's going to call the bet or bet himself.
he's got ace queen, two pair.
He's got two pair
with a straight draw.
And see, with Mike raising there, you can really put him on ace with some low cards.
Right.
He may not have that, and so AP makes a smart bet. Just get him off the hand. Let's end it now. I'll just take this free $50.
AP seems to like to talk of why he played certain things to the person who he just played with.
There are some nights where AP will never shut up. And he can slow the game down.
Right.
But yes, you are correct. He does love to talk. He will. Any subject's fine.
Right.
But he can lose focus, and some people actually come to the game to play.
Right.
And so they're like, stop talking to AP so we can get some hands.
Right.
But to me, I love AP at my table. I would play at every table with AP. And as you can see, has there been anybody even close?
Not even close.
to playing the number of hands he plays.
Not even close. I thought for a while there El Chapo was going to be a contender with him as far as playing a lot of pots, but it really isn't even close. AP seems to be nearly in 75% of these hands.
Yeah.
What do you think? In your opinion, a good Big O player. Hold'em is different. Obviously, I think you can play more hands in Big O legitimately. What do you think? A good ratio of hands to play.
It's tough because I just think it comes down to, this hand by AP should be folded every time to a $20 raise, but you never know. Whoever wants to see it can put their money in, but
right.
And your VPIP should be small even in Big O. I think it should be tighter in Big O.
Right. Okay.
You need to have real hand selection. Hold them for $5 or $2.
Right.
You can speculate with 3-5 suited.
And if you hit, you're going to win a big pot. Right. Yeah. Now, I hear you. From what I'm gathering from you,
I believe AP off the set here
it's crazy.
against this guy, and so that there's going to be money put in, and this guy has the nut low.
He's got the nut
and
low.
And AP is never folding the nut high. Does this guy have any outs to a high? He's got a 7. He's got it runner straight draw.
Now, I don't see AP's hand. Did you see him?
Yes, and he had. I swear he's got pocket eights.
Did he really?
I saw it when it flashed earlier.
Okay.
Let's see what he does. We'll be able to tell because he's not folding. Oh, he didn't.
Yeah,
have
AP.
it.
Yeah,
he
AP,
folded.
Yeah, must have been a bad read.
Yeah.
As Superfish will take that down and
There was never going to be a fold if he had top set.
yeah. So from what I'm gathering in our chat here so far, it's all about hand selection in this. Whereas in Hold'em, somebody with a 5-6 or a 5-7, to see a flop, if it does hit, you got a chance to win a monster, and it may make sense for you to call a $10, $15 to see the flop bet.
Yeah.
Because it's going to pay off huge. Whereas this game is a little different.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody raises to 30 and Hold'em, the likelihood of them having a big pair is pretty
Right.
solid, or ace king. And if you have a flop that hits 5-7,
Right.
a lot of people say the flop is 10-5-7, and they have aces.
Right.
You're going to get them.
Right.
In this particular game, people will lay down aces all the time. There's no trap factor there by just hitting a little two pair. I mean, it just doesn't happen to the same degree in this particular game. So
Right.
that's where your hand selection needs to just be tightened up if you're playing to win some money.
Right.
And keep yourself out of these bad spots where you have to make decisions for $500 and you're worried about getting eighth or
Right.
quartered. I mean, it's just because at some of these pot levels, I mean, you can lose half your stack
Right.
in a pot limit game with some form of the nuts. That's the sad thing. You have the nut low and you're still going to lose half your stack.
Right. Exactly. Pot is 100 now. Jack 10-6 on the flop. Unable to see cards, as we mentioned. But you can see some of the chip stacks, 3,500, 3,000.
Diego bets right out, so he's obviously got something.
Diego bets 100 the pot. El Chapo and over to AP.
He's shaking his head no, so he's probably going to fold here.
You know these guys way too well.
I mean, AP is just a super tell. Ray Charles
funny.
can see AP's tells.
That's funny. Yeah.
He's over here.
Now, what about players? I don't see any of these players do it, but maybe a beginner in this game will arrange their cards. Do you ever look at that and see tells they're putting cards on one side of their hand?
I do see people arrange it, but it's hard to know if they're arranging a Broadway or
Right.
they're arranging a wheel, you
Right.
know, or they just like them all in order. They can have
Right.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Right.
So,
That's true, too.
but you do see people do it. It is one of those things that in this game doesn't give me, at least, much information.
Right.
To me, it's all about the betting. If somebody's betting here, I mean, the bluff factor is not as high as it can be in Hold'em. Bluffing in Hold'em is, an art, and you can get away, with stuff here. If you're bluffing, I'm going to say 50% of the time you don't have it, and you're bluffing, they have it.
Right.
If you don't have it,
I think we really haven't seen many bluffs.
No.
We saw, I guess if you call having the low and trying to bet the high out of their hand,
yeah,
we've seen that a few times, but that's not really a bluff. 8, 6, 10 on the flop.
and that's the power of the low. You can get non-nut highs, even though they may have you beat. You can get that to fold with a nut low.
5 of hearts on the river, on the turn, and the low is there with a deuce. Ace 4 is the low.
Ace 3 is the nuts, but Bill, and again, Bill just folds Ace 4 quickly. Not knowing what Don has, AP's got 2 pair with a deuce 4. And, what's the bet, 65?
55 is the bet, so...
Yeah. AP will play for 55 to just, watch two guys wrestle in the
Right,
middle of the
right.
room.
I've heard that phrased a little bit differently, a little bit more X-rated, but
Yeah.
yes.
I don't know what we can get away
Yeah.
with on this, but
There's the 4.
so that kills. And look at this. He's telling Don, don't even bet. He's just going to fold.
Yeah.
And Don's going to bet. And AP's going to lament over.
So Don is, as you mentioned, kind of an Austin legend.
Yeah.
He ran a game back in the day before these poker card houses, and then still even probably afterwards. But he's just a great guy, very nice. He's won a few big tournaments. I remember him winning one in Louisiana. He scored, I think, $100,000 in a poker tournament once.
Okay.
He's had a few big wins, and he likes to go out to Vegas for the World Series. Obviously, he didn't go this year because there wasn't one, but he'll spend several weeks out there. He just likes to play.
I haven't stayed with him, but I go out every year for the series too. But Don's there for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Stays at the Rio, plays, and Don is a multi-game guy, so he can play Big O, he can play PLO. He likes Hold'em.
Yeah.
If he plays Hold'em, I think he likes tournaments. I think he likes to put that small for the big score.
Right.
And he's had a couple.
Yeah.
But I think Don's game of choice, even over everything, is Big O, even over PLO. They ran a Big O.
Wow, 6 weeks in Vegas. I mean, I've probably been to Vegas. My first trip was 1984 when I was 18 years old, and I've been over 100 times, but I've never been for longer than 4 days. I don't know how anybody could stay 6 weeks.
Don's done it, I think, year after year. He kind of has it down to a little science where, he makes it just like a regular life. He still goes out, eats. And,
right.
Doesn't, get caught up too much in the party scene.
Right.
But every time I go out there, once I go in the Rio, I guaranteed to see Don.
Yep. It's fun to see. You go in that big room in the Rio, and and you see people from Austin. And,
every time.
And Austin's got quite a reputation. I know my brother plays up in Oklahoma, and when he says that that he's Austin's poker scene, and people know about this scene, and a lot of good players here. Some professionals have moved here. I know Bart Hansen moved here, and
a lot of good players.
Who was Alon Schwartz moved here for a while. It's especially now that we have poker, even more the reason why they would move here. So there's a bet of looks like 35 and then a raise to 75 by AP.
And called.
He's 9-5-10, 2 hearts. Looks like Superfish has the nut heart draw.
With top, he did have top 2. Now he's just got aces and nines with the nut heart draw.
Yeah.
Does he have a real low draw? No.
No.
He has no low draw.
No low draw.
So AP is going to continue. He's going to call here, especially with no low yet on board. That's worthy of a call because there's still a lot of cards here that will make no low, and you got to feel that your high is good. So he may have a tough time getting away from this. I don't know if AP's got anything. We can't see AP's holdings, and AP can bet with anything. With him, no, it's a check down. So I believe Superfish is going to win this one. Yeah, AP was just on the nut low draw.
Aces and fives for Superfish.
Ace 9.
Yeah, aces and nines.
He flopped 3 pair, yeah.
And we'll go on to the next one.
The Austin poker scene, in comparison to Vegas, especially at the 1-2 level. I mean, a 1-3 game here at the Lodge plays every bit or bigger than any 2-5 game in Vegas.
At least.
Every 1-2 game here plays, I swear, 2 times bigger. One of my last trips to Vegas, I went to just a 1-2 game, and I raised to 12, and everybody folded. And I raised to 12, and everybody folded. I did it 10 times in a row, and didn't get a caller.
It's crazy.
I'm like, and I can raise to 40 in here.
Right, and get 4 callers. Yeah, no, our 1-3, we play 1-2 and 1-3 mainly here, and our 1-3 game at least plays 2-5 Vegas. Sometimes, some nights it's 5-10.
I agree.
It's crazy the action, and you're absolutely right. People who come from Vegas, they sit down at our 1-3 and go, "Wow." So looks
King
like
10
another
5.
bomb pot here.
Yeah. See if anybody wakes up with anything. I mean, Chris has got a king, so there's only one other person that can possibly have one.
Mike,
But he still doesn't like his hand. No real low.
wish we were able to find out how some players are seeing their cards and others aren't, and we give the tutorial to the others who aren't, and so we could see them all. So
AP's in, Don's in. Yeah, Chris, easy
Chopper
lay
will
down.
fold over to Superfish. So it looks like we've got 3 players going to the turn of this bomb pot. $230, ace of hearts, and a
That's always
5.
a good card. So Greg folded a 5.
Yeah, he did.
Chris had a king, so the board pairing there is likely to have no.
280 in the pot. AP looks down and he's going to reach for some chips, and he's going to say pot and make it 280 or at least 200. Superfish is the only one left. Don't know what he has, but he's going to make the call.
To the river, finally.
River, jack of hearts, and an ace of diamonds.
So even if you have the nut flush here, you're a little wary of the board pair on the bottom since we are playing ultimate.
And it's only a high hand that's going to win the scoop this pot because there is no low.
There is no low. With this guy checking, he's not super strong, but AP's obviously checking back, and he's not super strong either. Oh, I'm sorry. Spoke too quickly.
Going to reach for a handful, and that's quick fold before he can
I'm
even say how much
interested to
he
see. AP's going to lay it down. AP shows every time. He'll show you what he's got. Obviously, Don already knows.
Don's putting his hands down. He's laughing. He's laughing at the hand.
Was it a bluff?
He didn't show.
He didn't show. Thank you.
Now, usually in Hold'em, Matt, you show one player, you got to show them all. Is that not the case here?
It is. If he would ask, he would have shown.
All right.
But most players in this, they've played enough together, they don't care.
Right.
He was on some form of big draws that didn't get there. So
Don's reaction was priceless. He shook his head, and put his head over his forehead and shook his head.
I would like to know what he had there just to see if there was some sort of bluff.
The classic reaction of, I cannot believe you just won that pot.
Sometimes aggression gets you there. Every card game.
Yeah. I like the T-shirt in seat 5 there. Win Twins, the Minnesota Twins. Old-time T-shirt, looks like.
He is a Minneapolis, St. Paul guy.
Okay.
He moved here recently, about 3 years ago from there. So he's a lover of all things Minnesota.
Got some people saying Vegas sucks, but the food is awesome. Yes, it is.
Oh, for sure. I love Vegas food. Austin Transplants. Diego's moved here from L.A. You can see his allegiance with the Dodger jersey.
And somebody disagrees with me, saying, I disagree, Rick. I think it's counterintuitive, but the more cards you are dealt pre-flop, the tighter you should play. And that's kind of what you were saying.
Yeah.
And I guess it is counterintuitive.
How about the straight flush?
Oh,
that
my
AP's
goodness.
Gonna make. Please, somebody. Oh, nobody's got anything.
Show it, AP. Show it to the table.
Oh my God, he's got nut. This
straight flush. But he didn't get any action.
No, oh man, when you hit something like that, when it's so pretty, and you need somebody to just have that ace high flush or a board pair, you're holding nut.
So those who are watching on our live stream, we really appreciate it and participating in the live chat. Let us know maybe where you're from. My phone's about to die, so may not be able to see it, but let us know where you're watching us from, and if you ever uh, get to Austin,
Come on out.
yeah,
You'll
we'd love to
find
have you.
plenty of action here. Just bring your mask.
Yes, exactly.
They will provide one for you, though,
Yeah,
at the door.
really appreciate you tuning in tonight. It is currently 12:45 Austin time, and we started a little after 11. We'll probably go a little while longer. And
You know, the crazy thing about so far tonight, to AP's credit, is he has shown up with an incredible amount of ace deuces.
he does. I mean, it seems like every other hand, and you got to hand it to him. You got to, like you mentioned, the games might be made because he plays. You got to love a player who plays the pots.
Yeah.
If you had a whole table filled with guys who never play, you're not going to have much fun. You got to have somebody willing to put some chips in the middle. Ace 7 king.
I saw Diego's hand, even though we can't see it. I believe he has ace deuce 3. So he's going to put some money in there with the nut low draw and a pair.
150 was the bet, a deuce on
That is a very poor card for Diego's hand unless he just has the wheel in his hand. But him and AP are laughing.
Okay, so Mo is from Colorado, and she's Greg's girlfriend, and she's watching. Okay, so Greg in from Colorado, and really appreciate it. You tuning in and giving us the great feedback, Mo. I met your boyfriend earlier. Seems like a great guy. And I'm going to have to get his book. I'm not such a big O player I grew up on the game, actually. I told you I played in the game from 1984. It was here in Austin. It was a home game, played every Tuesday night from 1984 to about 2004. 20 straight years, nonstop, every Tuesday night, never missed. And it was a dealer's choice game, but in an orbit of the 8 hands dealt, 5 of them would be Big O. And so I kind of grew up on the game, much, much smaller stakes. I think $5 max bet. But it's still, the money is relative. It's still the same game, and if you're playing for smaller stakes, some people view $5 like these guys may view $100. So
It just depends on what you're comfortable with.
It's what you're comfortable with. It was more of a friendly game, but I think the last 2 bets, turn and river, you could bet 10, and the river you could bet up to 20. So it was a limit game. wasn't a pot limit game.
Right.
But it was fun, and I grew up on it, and it took me a long time to get to understand that betting the low is going to end up losing you more money than it's going to win in certain situations. As we've talked throughout the night, but it took me a long time to realize that.
I do want to mention, I know we mentioned it earlier, but I know Greg, too, is a veteran, and he's served a couple of different tours.
Oh, fantastic.
He's a good guy when it comes. He's definitely served his country
more
than once.
Veterans Day, actually, it just passed. It was yesterday, or today is obviously Thursday, but yesterday, Veterans Day, so important to our country. Regardless of where you come in on the political persuasion, we're not going to talk politics for sure, but everyone, Republican, Democrat, Independent, everyone agrees that we owe a debt of gratitude to everyone who served in the armed forces for our country. And it's such an important day. I wish they would make it even more important. They do. It is a national holiday, but I think of all dates, we have Thanksgiving, we have July 4th. I think Veterans Day needs to take more prominence in the pecking order, but it just doesn't seem to. 773 on the flop. And AP's going to check with the ace 4-5 jack.
And this
jack.
was a straddled hand too.
6.
So AP straddled the 10, and everybody just called, and then AP actually.
He hits the straight.
I thought we might get a raise here, but there was no raise. But
AP hits the straight and has a decent low too.
yeah, he's gonna call because he does have a two-way hand. What? No.
Unless we're seeing the hands wrong, I don't know how he folds that. There was a board pair out there, so
Yeah, but 50. I mean, he had second nut.
Yeah,
low.
Second nut low and a straight.
And $50. I said AP's. He'll pay $50 to see about anything.
Right.
It doesn't have to be special.
Talking about the differences in the game, I want to throw up on my mouth when folding top set is correct in Big O. Yeah.
We all do.
I'm not a Big O player either. I play limit hold'em. I can't even hold 4 cards at once, says Mo. So, yeah, it is a different game. It's a fun game. I think everybody, if you can find a game that isn't at this stakes, if you're learning, or even go online, and, I guess there's poker sites that
1 cent, 2 cent.
Yeah. It'll at least give you a taste for the game and understanding. The biggest thing most new players just can't grasp is the low. They have more problems understanding.
Figuring out the nut low.
Figuring out, because they know a high hand because they come from Hold'em, right?
Yeah.
But they just can't figure out the low and,
right.
And if they have one, if there is one. So
that's where having a dealer like Frank is good, because Frank knows exactly what it is.
Right.
He can pick it out, and figure out that you have a live 7 that's better than somebody else. I mean, it's one of those things where there can be some scenarios where it's difficult, but
ace 5 queen, and AP bets out. Don gets away, and nobody's playing.
No, this is. Craig's really tight. Don's pretty tight. Bill's pretty tight. I mean, these guys aren't just going to step out, and especially when the game's as deep. If you had a couple other players added to the mix here, we've got some legendary players here in town that could make some games happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to also thank Grant tonight for helping out with the production. He's helping Dave Klaproth, our executive producer, in the control room, and really appreciate Grant's help. Grant is a dealer here at the lodge that said, "Hey, you know what? If you guys need a little help, I'm interested." So we really appreciate it, Grant. And
don't ever ask Grant for a honey butter chicken biscuit. He won't get it for you. That's an inside
joke, huh?
He forgot my order one night from the parking lot Waterbury.
Right.
He got the other 20 guys' order right, not mine.
But didn't miss yours.
Missed mine, and I give him hell every day.
Whataburger is located literally 150 yards from our poker room, and
if you don't know me, I can afford to miss a honey butter chicken biscuit, so I should have thanked him.
That's funny. So here comes the flop as we've got a couple players in. 4-4 jack, and AP flops 2 pair. And the turn is a 9, so we won't have a low this hand either.
No.
And looks like Don is going to make it 40. And Bill is going to get out of the way, and AP's going to get out of the way, I would imagine. And he does. Still looking for some contact here, so some type of hand where we get some action.
We've actually had not many of those, which is surprising, because you just run into all the cards are out. So we're just not running into the right combinations yet. But it will happen.
Looks like we're actually picking up a few people watching the later we go. It's
Great.
just about 1 a.m. and
Oh,
probably going to be closing down here shortly. I don't know how long
wait till I
we're going
start
to be going.
singing. I mean, the viewership is going to jump.
If we can get a drink from AP, although I do have to drive home, so I've got another broadcast tomorrow. So I have a radio show on Wednesday nights about high school football. Then I came rushing over here to do a poker show. Tomorrow I have a football game. Saturday I have a basketball game. I've got all sorts of broadcasts going on, but I enjoy the poker show. We're trying to build something here. Poker Night at the Lodge, presented by America's Card Room, and there are a few poker shows. Another one here in Austin that does quite well. We think we're going to differentiate us from them in a lot of ways, but definitely they do a good job.
Here's a good example of Mike didn't need to raise this hand. He doesn't have a low that's worthy. He does have double suited aces.
Right.
And he has ace-6, but I'd rather have El Chapo's hand here, even though, the 4 hearts isn't ideal.
Ace, deuce, 5, and there's some diamonds. Is Mike?
He's going to continue.
Yeah.
I mean, he does like the deuce because it's likely people called him with ace-deuce.
AP's hand kind of went to hell.
But
At 10 of clubs.
Mike raised, and then he couldn't even continue on that flop.
Yeah.
Now with AP's got 2 pair.
Don
you can't ever see Don.
65.
Don
Yeah.
needs to scan his cards right. Let's
Yeah.
go, Don.
Maybe that's on purpose. Don doesn't want us to see.
It's terrible.
So here comes the river.
Mike called, and then Mike makes the nuts. But again, here, he's probably getting half.
Right.
That's it. Because, I mean, unless Don... there you go. Good. It is nice that he had the nut high. He knows there's going to be 0 chop there with that particular hand.
Right. So he can make the raise knowing he's going to get at least it back.
For sure.
With no risk.
With no risk.
Right.
And that's the thing. Don, honestly, Don probably had a low. But if it's not good enough for him to call, then he just lets it go. Because, there could have been... Mike did show some strength pre-flop, so he doesn't know that it's just the nut high. So nice bet by Mike. And that'll get people... I know I'm certainly one to fold. I mean, I've got to really...
Next hand up is... And we're ready, and Frank has dealt it out. This is hand number 39 of the live stream, and having some fun. Chambo looks down at 99873, not too great of a hand. He'll fold. El Chapo 10-10-7-5 deuce.
He should fold. Auto muck.
Superfish folds his 2 pair. Pocket jacks and 5s. Motown. And Greg looks down at ace, king.
Yeah.
Queen.
So he's got a suited ace, and he's got ace-4.
Right.
He's got high cards. I believe AP called. We don't know what AP has yet, but AP's got more ace-deuces than anybody tonight. So
here comes the flop from Frank. Deuce, deuce, 8.
So that's one of those hands where if you're Greg, you're a little nervous because people will typically call you with ace-deuce, and you don't have it. He does have ace-4, and I know Greg's good enough, but there we go.
Race to 80, and Greg's going to quickly release.
Greg is the king at never overextending himself.
Now, he's from Colorado, but how long have you been playing with him?
Just a year or so. We met him, we used to play at a different club here in town that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
The Austin Poker Palace. We used to do a live stream from there, and he would come in from time to time, and we would, play there quite a bit, actually. And it was the same kind of crew. I mean, it was a lot of Chris, a lot of Diego. Don was there every day. It's just kind of a big O community that we had. We had some fairly legendary games lasting 3 or 4 days.
And so how does a game wind up at a certain club?
I really don't know because I've never been the one that kind of organized it. I just go where the game is, right? But
So
I've never been the guy who, I know they used to play Big O here at the lodge a little more frequently, but I don't know why. I don't know.
it's interesting to know, why a game moves from a club or stays at a club.
Right. I mean, APP had a game, and then it moved when the new lodge opened up over there off 620.
Right.
And we played there all the time.
Right.
That was the pseudo game spot.
Right.
But I believe some of it has to do with they catered to us. They wanted us to come over, and so
Right.
they show us love, we showed them love. It's
Right.
like anything else, right? I mean, you're going to be loyal.
Ace deuce 3-9 on the.
We're heads up, AP and Diego. There is lows. 4-5 would be your sweet spot here.
150, and looks like a big raise by AP.
And it just depends on how quickly Diego reacts to it.
Going to make it 450. And the dealer's just leaving chips in front of him because if it's just heads up,
Yeah.
it's a bit easier just to do that than to split the pot. So he's going to call the 450, and we'll go to the river. 8 of diamonds and 6.
Doesn't change much. There's no flush. I mean, 4-5 is still. I mean, even though it's not the nuts, 4-5 here is so good to have.
Yeah.
I mean, the wheel, and then it's the wheel 6 now. I think there's a bigger straight down low with the 5-7 or 6-7-9. Could be Jack 10 out there, but it's hard to call 450 on a turn with just those kind of draws. Unless you just have 4-5. So if Diego puts his money in here, I'm going to assume he's got 4-5 too. Look at AP in the bottom pot waking up with ace deuce 4-5-7.
It's crazy. Seems to have ace deuce, and he's going to put it all in. El Chapo. And AP is going to call.
Of course.
And we're going to see what El Chapo has.
Diego's going to turn.
It's not turning it over very quickly.
No, he's
going to
not.
throw it in.
Wow.
And
I can't believe. I mean, that's a call that AP's reputation has earned him.
Yeah.
Right there.
So
you can put AP on. I mean, really, he could have had him on some kind of a high straight, and Diego probably had something along the lines of 4-6 for a nut low, or for a second nut low, and he thought he might get a chop there.
and AP is going to win a $2,500 pot and add to his chip stack. And
needless to say, those are in play. Those are never going to get cobwebs on them. Those chips are not on lockdown.
and El Chapo is going to dig into his pocket and say, checks, table 11. And they'll bring him some more chips.
As you can see on the live stream feed now, we do have massage girls here at the lodge.
Yeah.
Shout out to Wanda, who is the strongest person pound for pound I
Really?
possibly know.
Wow, that's good to know. I don't get too many of the massages here, but a lot of players do. She
is strong.
A lot of players will have them for an hour. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
It's these girls. It's good money for these girls.
Yeah. Don is infamous. Don will get a 2-hour massage. He don't care. Don's the man.
Don Ikwat. He's a good guy.
Affectionately known as Ninja Don. That's what I've always called him.
All right. Ninja Don.
To me, he's the Big O godfather here.
Yeah.
He can get a game together quicker than anybody. Big O.
Yeah. Well, he, as I mentioned, for years and years, he has a player pool because he had his own game and or was part of a game. I don't want to say too much there, but so he has a lot of guys who play the game that are in his circle. There's the call. And
Now,
now
what you might see now that Diego has
Yeah.
lost some money, he's going to loosen up.
right.
That's still that's a pretty damn playable hand, but Chris has woken up with fairly premium himself.
And Diego with that green placard means he is bought in, and that money will count in this hand. Whatever he bought in for that's coming his way from the cage, he can put in action.
And AP's killing it, so he feels like he's going to call with King 4, 8, 9, 10. Again, they're always in play.
Yeah. That's funny. Oh, he lays it down.
He does lay down a 3-bet, knowing that
Don,
Diego's going to call, though.
Don puts in a rather large bet.
Oh, Diego grabbed the chips. I thought he was calling.
All
Oh, yeah, he calls. Chris was all in. I didn't realize Chris had that. That's a good flop for Chris.
Queen 5 ace.
He's only got the nut flush draw, top 2, and nut low draw, so it's one of those hands that it's hard to lose.
6 on the river.
He scoops.
Deuce 3 for the nut low.
And top 2
And top 2 ace queen.
with the nut flush draw. That was a sick flop for Chris.
Yeah. So Chris is going to double up for his pot. I had thought that for some reason Don had put in a stack of green, but it must have been to give money to
Yeah.
El Chapo for the hand.
Making change.
Yeah.
What a hand for Chris in a flop.
AP drinking a little bit of his drink, and looks like somebody might be. Oh no, that's another
Mark,
player.
That's Mark Collier. So he's he. I don't know many players that play more hands of Big O in a week than Mark Collier does.
So how many days a week do these guys play?
7.
7 days a week. It's crazy.
Diego plays 7 days a week. Chris 7 days a week. Mark 7 days a week. Don 7 days a week.
Wow.
In some form or another. And everybody has a job. I mean, that's the thing. Still working, still
Yeah.
doing their thing, commitments to family, kids.
Yeah, I know. No, and it's
That's that online, it gives
Yeah.
you that access for that quick,
right.
right now.
Well, at least we've got Holden players that are in here every night, and
Yeah.
it's entertainment for them, and there's worse things in life you could be doing than playing a little card game.
Yeah.
As long as you're, like you mentioned earlier, as long as you're not playing with the rent money and
No, none of these guys
and
are.
it can get a little ugly in that situation. Here comes the flop again, heads up, king, queen, ace, all spades, and looks like a nut spade draw is of course AP, and he's not even at the table, and he's winning hands.
He's just flopping the nuts.
I mean, my goodness, he's going to look down and say, "Oh, yep."
The way he's running, the turn's going to be a 3.
And the thing is that there hasn't even been that much action tonight, but he's still winning so many hands.
Yeah.
That the few that he is in, as El Chapo bought in for, looks like
I don't know
about 5,000.
He calls 30, but, I mean, I don't know what he could have here. 2 pair? That's a good card for
8 of
AP.
clubs.
Still has the nuts. Now he's got the second nut low draw.
Deuce 4. What hand is that? He just killed that flop.
He did. That's a terrible hand, and he made the
60, and there's the raise, and El Chapo's going to find out the bad news because he's going to get re-raised here.
yes.
So looks like it's 140, and AP shakes his head and hems and haws.
He's
and
going to acting class.
he's heard us, and he's going to
Just a call.
just call. That's
Wow.
scary to say. Just call.
Let's see what happens here.
Here comes the river, and there's the ace.
That's a bad card for AP.
Yeah.
No low, and the guy was raising you, and it's likely he had 2 pair, possible set.
Yeah.
I think AP lays it down. He's going to show,
He's gonna
but
say
he laid it down.
Wow. The board does pair, and like you said, he hadn't folded yet.
That was in hindsight, it's a good call by AP on the flop or on the turn.
He shows the ace, doesn't show anything else. So El Chapo's gonna, after he buys some chips, he's gonna get a bunch of chips back.
He had it. He had a boat.
He needed the river, as AP was just.
Just sitting on him. With that low too, he had Diego could have had ace 2-3, but he had him in jail.
We go to the next hand as they bring in some new decks for the table. Looks like AP's sitting 3,500, 4,000, about 4,200 in front of him. Just guesstimating there. We've got El Chapo bought in for 5,000 more, and Greg has a big stack. So we got a lot of chips in play right now. Whoops. All right. Sorry about that, folks. We're back to talking, and Frank will deal another hand here. I'm just dying. I'm wanting to see stacks go in the middle. I that's just me. I just love the big pots.
You know, it is kind of, it's one of those things, and you see it here sometimes too, or you see it on some of these other live streams. You know, the 1-3 game might be a little more fun to watch because they are getting stacks in. Then these guys that want to play 10-25, they just want to buy these huge amounts and sit on them.
Right.
These guys would typically get it in, but there's some tighter players. Now, Greg obviously raises here. This is a standard play from him with ace deuce 5, 10, 7.
And El Chapo will make the call.
AP calls.
AP should be calling, although the last hand he called and he flopped the nuts and end up losing.
Yeah, so here we go. Here's 5, 6 players here.
He's holding his drink out for something. I don't know.
Fish.
Oh, he's wanting more vodka. So Jack 9 Queen, a 10 is a magic card, and
nobody. Well, Greg has a 10, but he doesn't have King 10.
Yeah.
Nor does he have 8-10.
So no low is possible.
AP also has a 10. There's no flush draw. Yeah, there is going to be no low, so this is high only. Here comes AP. He has flopped top and bottom. And I assume he's just going to get folds here. And he does.
AP will take down the pot. Once again, we want to thank the lodge ownership for making this possible. Jason and Rosa and Bob and all the fine people, the lodge supervisors. This is a big expense. The lodge is not exactly a profit center to do these live streams. There's a lot of equipment involved. There's a lot of investment on their part. It's partly to do a little marketing and have something that our players can see themselves on YouTube. But it's a big expense, and we want to thank them for taking the chance and letting us do this. We also want to thank Dave Klaproth, their executive producer, who really puts it all on. He's got the equipment. He's got the knowledge of making it all happen. Because live streams are tough, especially with 5-card trying to read, as you've noticed. It's the reader sometimes isn't able to keep up, and a lot of that is user error. So we've got $20 bet and calls all around. This is the first time I've ever seen tonight more than 4 people in the pot as we go Looks like six-handed into the pot.
And I don't know if you noticed that dynamic, but AP raised it in the dark. He wasn't even at the table. He just screamed to Frank to raise. So Frank raised 20 for him, and AP had not seen his hand. And nobody re-raised.
Superfish flops the nut flush, if I'm not mistaken. 7 queen deuce of diamonds. He does not have, and he's got a decent low, but the nut flush high. No bet.
And he just checks it through. He was going to bet this time.
There's the $75 bet.
In PLO or in Big O, my strategy is if I have it, I bet it. I don't try to trap a lot because I just think, there's always too many draws out against you.
Right.
So just make people pay. Nobody's going to have anything. Nobody has ace. Chris has ace 3, and he has 2 pairs. So this may warrant a call here.
Somebody's talking behind him that they're talking a $75 bet by Superfish and a fold and over to El Chapo.
Who has nothing.
And Superfish flops the nut flush draw and wins the hand.
I might have called him Chris's spot. Nut low and 2 pair.
Yeah.
I mean, probably when he bets he's got a flush, but if you hit a magic card there, some of the things too is, even in Hold'em you think about, hey, if I hit this card, am I going to get paid off?
Right.
You got to think about those things. And if the board pair's there and the guy has the nut flush, it's likely that Chris is not going to get paid off. So maybe he could lay down.
Coming up on 1:15 in the morning here on Thursday, November the 12th, here in Austin, Texas. Poker Night at the Lodge live stream. If you're up, we thank you. You're either having a hard time sleeping or you're interested in our program. One way or the other, we appreciate it. But
yeah, this is good live content at 1:15 in the morning. Where else are you going to get that?
Exactly.
This is poker content.
Matt, Mo, one of the viewers says, Matt, I hear you sniffling. You better not have the Rona.
Man.
How do you know it's Matt? That's interesting because there's 2 of us.
Thank you.
It is Matt.
It is. I've been trying to sneeze for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm
if you've never been to Austin and you could come here and never have an allergy, you're going to pick one up here possibly. Austin is maybe the allergy headquarters of.
I have to agree with that. I've lived here for 45 years and didn't have allergies for about 30 of them, and then I got them. If it goes a certain level, that's when I start feeling it. Your head feels like it's in a vice,
right?
And it's not fun. But
let's see what Greg does here. He has flopped the nuts with actually. But no heart redraw, and I know Mike here has got the nut heart draw. There's no low going to be there, so it's just going to be nut hearts versus the nuts.
And AP bets 150.
Well, he also has the nuts. And this is a situation where Mike can get in. If he calls this 150 here and somebody else behind calls, he's getting the right price. If Greg can certainly pot here. There's enough in here where he's going to get, but he doesn't. He just calls.
Well, Mike with the flush draw, AP with the nuts straight.
Greg and AP have the nuts, but AP has the redraw.
There's the heart. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's going to
now.
slow down a bunch of people.
No, Mike's just going to. He's just going to bet it huge. He's going to bet the full thing as well. He should to get out pairs and everything.
And AP will show what he folded.
Yeah.
And Mike, with the nice shirt, is going to take down this pot.
A little Robert Graham, I think, on the shirt.
And Frank is going to collect a few tips. Remember, the silver tips are tip chips, and some players are tipping pumpkins, which are the $5 tip chips. We've seen those flying around from time to time from AP. Very generous to the dealers. Dealers, they work hard, and they do work for tips. It is, they're it's a definitely tipping job, and they do a good job here.
During holiday season, I try to tell the dealers you should only be tipped pumpkins
Haha,
during Halloween and Thanksgiving.
that's
They
nice.
all agreed.
I like it. I like it. And looks like we're gonna have another rebuy from one of the players.
And a fresh cup of ice for AP to get another one.
So
of
how
those.
long will these games go? We're going to stop our live stream here in about 20, 30 minutes. But how long will these games go?
Well, you have the second game going that's off the stream,
Right.
right? And with those players, and with what's here, this game, honestly, let me see who's on the table. One, two. Without saying names, you've got 4 people on this table that'll stay all night.
Right.
And then you've got an additional 4 on the other table that will stay.
So
This game could last till noon.
So if you're in Dallas and want to drive down to Austin, this game might still be going by the time you get here for sure. And looks like the bet is 50.
It will be. I mean, there's a good likelihood with the players that are here. There's enough, and they're just guys that like to play.
We'll go to the next hand. Frank deals them out. 8-piece stack continues to grow. It's fun when you're winning. Looks like
A little disappointed tonight, though. I thought there'd be a little more action.
Yeah.
There has been. These guys have been somewhat tame and maybe a little scared. There's a pumpkin tip to Frank.
yeah. Well, I know that earlier AP was throwing around 2 or 3 pumpkins to the dealers.
If you're a dealer, you want AP to get all the winners.
My
he
goodness.
is not afraid to tip.
That's just beautiful.
Yeah, AP needs all the good karma. All the good dealer karma.
Well, it looks like we've got multiplayers going to this flop.
Mike's in with a decent hand. There's El Chapo should not be in with 77733.
King, Queen, 9. That's going to forfeit any low possibility. And looks like
those lately.
Do we have a diamond draw? Looks
Yeah,
like
Bill has a 10 high, but that'll never stick around. Mike has the nut diamond, but he's
Yeah.
only got one. But hey, AP will bet it.
AP makes it 80.
He's got top and bottom. I mean, that's enough for AP. And, likely we'll get folds around.
AP continues to win.
Now, as you notice, this guy folded the nuts. He flopped the nuts straight,
Right.
and he folded
Right.
with very
Well, you
little.
mentioned that at the top of our broadcast. That one of the worst things in Big O is flopping the nut straight.
Man, you're only going to get in trouble.
Right.
I swear he had some redraws, though. He had a couple pair, Jack 10. That might have been for 80. I mean, I might have to look at a turn.
Right. We're on to the next one. I believe this is a bomb pot. It is, as Don is the button, and every player will put their $15 in, and we're going to go straight to a flop, a double board flop. High-low, obviously, but it's the best high hand and the best low hand.
You'll notice he shouldn't burn here. I don't think, even with 8. I think they avoid the Yeah, no burn on the flop. They just go straight to flop.
6-3 king, deuce, deuce, jack.
Let's see what we got here. Can we get any action? Superfish is going to put in some money here. Now, if anybody else has anything.
Greg's playing this hand, which is always warning Will Robinson.
He flopped a set of sixes, but no low draw. Superfish has a hand here.
3 players going to the turn in this bomb pot.
I'd like to know what Chris has.
There's a low made and a queen of spades. So there is a low possibility up top. With
and Superfish has the nut low with trip deuces. Greg just has the lone set here.
Bet was looks to be 100.
He's got the 3-4 whatever.
He's going to take it down.
Yeah, he had a monster. Look, he'll show it. So he turns 5 high. He's got the nut low here. He's got trip deuces there. I mean, it's
right.
He's got straight nut low trips. You know, and I mean, kudos to a guy like Greg. I mean, I know a lot of other players that are just going to chase that set just to see if it pairs, and you're going to win. You're going to win half
the pot.
But Greg won't do it.
Right.
He is disciplined. That's a very big leak in my game, and I will bitch about it. I am a tremendous crybaby.
So we're off to the next one. Rick Epstein along with Matt Myers here in Poker Night at the Lodge live stream. Big O. It was started off last night, November 11th. We're into early morning hours of November 12th. And
Chris is working on the second page of props, too. This was going to be a big one. So there's going to be some money won and lost on the props tonight.
So does it? What if a player needs to go? I mean,
they'll
settle up?
They'll settle up when they leave.
Okay.
Whether they're maybe one guy will be central bank or something.
Right.
And just settle their debt up. If they're down, they just leave the money, obviously.
Right. Interesting. Queen, 6, king, all clubs. Nobody really with clubs.
No. This is going to a turn, and it's going to go to a river with no bet. Oh.
Don makes it 50.
I guess, I'm sorry, we can't see what Don has, so he may have it.
Don probably has clubs. There aren't any clubs to be found.
I would assume he does. He's over here.
So fold.
Superfish has ace, deuce, 3, 4. You wait all night for ace, deuce, 3, 4, and the flops. queen, 6, 9.
Right. So Don will take down that pot. We'll go to the next hand. Remember the big tournament at the Lodge, February 26th, 7th, and 8th, $500 buy-in, $75 at the door, $500 buy-in. It's a $125,000 guarantee tournament. This is the third time we've had a big tournament like this, $500 buy-in. We'll have satellites probably starting off next month or maybe the first of the year, where you'll be able to come in and try to win a seat, a single table satellite or multi-table satellites where we'll give out multiple seats. And it's a lot of fun. Bless you.
Thank
you. It's interesting, it used to be a cough and a sneeze meant nothing, Nowadays it's it seems like it means a lot more.
It can, for sure.
10, queen, 6 on the flop as a Superfish, it's tough when you only see some of the players' hands. $80 is the bet by El Chapo. Superfish makes the call. Don will fold.
Yeah, Superfish with top pair and open ender is going to give it a turn.
There's the turn, ace of clubs.
Affectionately known as the nuts.
And there's the nuts for the Jack King for Superfish.
It's always good when somebody leads 250 into you and you're holding the nuts.
The nuts.
Let's see what he does.
He's going to probably kick it up a notch here, I would imagine.
I would, because he doesn't really have a low. I mean,
Right.
he's got, well, I'm sorry, he does have deuce 5. So, I mean, he could just call here. But, I mean, a pot bet obviously is, what do you bet, 225?
Yeah.
250? So a pot bet's 750.
Right.
Plus the trail. But he just calls. And
There's the low comes in.
counterfeits his low, but he still has the nut high. So
And
I'm going to assume that Diego has some form of a hand. I think it's just going to go call here for 550.
any low for Diego wins him half the pot.
Yeah. I think he's going to call 750 was the bet? 350?
Looks like it was 750.
Well, there was 250, 250, 5.
He makes the call.
Yeah.
He's going to win half the pot, maybe. Looks like they have the same hand.
Same hand. Chop it
So
up.
chop
No
it
low.
up.
No low.
So it's a really bad situation for Superfish because if he could have won 3/4, he was basically free rolling for the 3/4
It sure
of the pot.
was. That is a great deuce for Diego without him really knowing it at the time.
Right.
Really a bad break. And those happen all the time. And, with so many cards and holding, I mean, those cards come. I mean, but if any other low card comes, then, yeah, Diego's just going to get – and Diego's probably going to still lead there thinking he's got it. It was a nice kind of play by Superfish there just to call on the turn. I think that disguised his nut high.
Right.
And Diego, feels good that he can lead right into that.
Rick Epstein along with Matt Myers. We've got another few minutes here on this live stream. We really appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight. We'll do it again real soon. Don't know when the next live stream is, but we've got certainly the tournament shows that we run where we film a final table and then we take out the best hands and do a kind of a highlight reel of that final table with the voiceover. Those are on YouTube. Look up for us at the Lodge Poker Club under YouTube, and you'll see about 14 episodes of those. Let us know how you like those.
AP back from a short break and just steps right into his normal ace-3.
Mo, hey, thanks so much. You commentators are doing a great job. Great intake on the players and the game. Thanks, Mr. Smith. Mo says, Matt, take a moment and go outside the booth and take care of yourself.
Man.
She's worried about
those sneezes helped. Trust me. I finally unleashed 2.
AP and I are doing a dime every flop, red or black.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, just to let you know.
Right now, though, we're not even going to we're 20 minutes behind, so we won't even get a chance to. We're commenting on stuff 20 minutes.
All right, just letting you know. Make a big deal out of it.
All right. So we were just told AP and another player on a red or black flop are doing. Did you say a dime? Does that mean 1,000?
It sure does. And
Oh,
it's
my goodness.
often that they do it. So the other night, they did it for 20 straight hands.
Oh my goodness.
For a dime each.
Yeah.
When it was all said and done,
Yeah.
AP had won, I believe, 2,000.
Oh my.
So
yeah.
it broke
So
fairly even.
right.
And this is quite often. AP and Mark,
Right?
they're not afraid to get in a little side action gamble.
On the flop, red or black, I guess 2 out of 3 of the cards, either red or black, will win one way or the other. All black or all red or a combination of the two.
Imagine getting hot in that.
Yes. Well, you said 20 hands and the difference was 2,000. It's probably going to be the case. I mean, the probabilities are what they are. But in the short term, you could get touched up a lot.
Yeah. Mike Floyd leaving the game.
And so we're going to have a new player. Seat open.
It should be Mark Collier.
Yeah.
Who will sit down there.
Mark, as you mentioned, you think he plays more Big O hands than anybody else in the Austin area on a daily basis?
Yes, I do.
Confidence, yes.
And he's a nit. So Mark has a few nicknames, but I mean, he's a tight player. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he runs pretty damn good, and that's a very good combination in terms of making money. So
he was playing at the other game that we have going on right now, the Big O game. That's kind of a feeder game into the live stream.
AP has once again made 2 pair. There is a flush, and yet nobody had. Well, we don't know what Don has, but we don't know if there's anything out against him. Superfish has made the nut low with a 6-high straight, so right now he's gonna.
AP has quite the following. They saying that they recounted the votes. AP won the 2020 presidential election.
Oh,
AP
beautiful.
for president. Then we've got one player says, I see that one player also has the Poker Bros app out while he's playing. Yeah, that seems like a common thing here.
Yes.
For these players, these action players just cannot get enough, and it's like you're playing live, you're also on the app, and I bet if you had another phone, you'd be playing that too.
So you didn't see it because Mark was on the other table. Now he's going to be joining this table soon.
Yeah.
But at the other table, Mark is playing live, and he had 3 devices. He was playing 3 tables of, again, he plays more PLO hands than most people.
It's crazy.
3 devices.
He's a Big O machine.
Oh, he's a big O something.
Rick Epstein along with Matt Myers here on Poker Night at the Lodge, doing the live stream. You know, tonight it's been a little interesting. We haven't seen all the cards. Every now and then we'll get to see some players we've never seen a card. Don.
Man, I don't care. AP has got the swipe down. We see
Yes.
AP's hand every time, and so far it's pretty good. But AP's affectionately playing an all-tall hand right now. He's got the ace, king, king, queen.
Couple diamonds, couple clubs, and looking for all tall cards to come out. Looks like we'll have 4 to a flop.
El Chapo's getting a little. He's starting to dig in a little bit. He's playing some flops.
Yeah.
Which is typically the case. I mean, you're going to loosen up when you're stuck. You want to get your money back. If you wait on the nuts, you might be waiting a long time. So you got to get in there and kind of manufacture some stuff.
Looks like it's 55 now as AP raises, Don calls, El Chapo, and Greg. We'll go 4 ways to the flop, folks, and here's the flop from Frank. Flop comes 9-7 deuce.
Not all tall, so AP's at a disadvantage here, even with kings.
Yeah.
He's not probably going to be remaining too much in this hand, if anybody bets.
225 in the pot. As Greg is going to make a bet here. Looks like 225. He'll make the pot size bet. AP.
No, El Chapo bet. Greg just called.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. El Chapo did bet. Greg made the call. And we'll go 2 players to the turn. 10. Greg is looking at a possible straight draw.
Yeah, he has a nut flush
with
draw.
spades.
He has a nut flush draw and a gutter and an ace-5 low. So Diego may just have to throw one more. Okay, yeah, throw one more bet and he's gone. Greg's gonna. Diego may turn something over. We still couldn't see his, but no.
Remember, Greg wanted us to mention www.doublesuited.net is the author of the Scoop series, and you said you've read the book, and I might have to pick it up, but check him out at doublesuited.net.
Great. It's a great book. It'll give you a good foundation for what you're looking for from to play Big O.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's the weakness you mentioned weaknesses in people's game. One of the weaknesses in my game is the study aspect of it all. I realize that in order to get really good at poker, you've got to put in the time of studying. You know, when I'm reading poker books, I tend to veer to the ones that talk more about the experiences at the poker table.
Right.
You know, the
certain hands that are played, and
I'm more of that kind of guy. But to just study poker is to just study poker is just not been my thing, and maybe that's why I'm not a professional.
yeah, no, I agree with you there. You know, and then you've heard some people say, "Hey, I'm a field player," and all this
Right.
and that. I mean, and you see a lot of guys here that can consistently win, and just some of it. I mean, there's some luck factor in all of this.
Sure. $1.25 is the bet from AP as he raises it up.
That's weird that he got ace deuce 3 again.
We can see everybody's cards but Don's. The reason why we can't see Don's cards is because he I don't know why. We're gonna have to ask Don. Was that a purpose thing for him to do?
Ace 3 5 6 for Bill. I mean, that's a good hand. AP's got a hand. Greg's gonna. Is he gonna call with kings? Okay, deuce 3. Greg's hand to me is one of those hidden gems because he's got a suited king, and if you hit an ace when you have king deuce 3, it's one of those hands that's not really mentioned too often.
Right.
When you hit the ace comes on the flop, you typically have a nut flush draw and a nut low draw. So
Right.
it offers you. So for me, I love to play king deuce 3, especially if it's double suited.
So there's the bet. Looks like 225.
Well, yeah, AP's going to fire. I mean, he has ace deuce 3. So he's got what you call the, right now, uncounterfeitable low. So it doesn't matter. If a low card comes, he has the nut low. Bill is got a little wrap to Bill's got a massive hand, too. Small wrap, nut flush draw, and second nut low draw. And El Chapo may. Oh, no, he let it go. So this is your typical, what you're looking at from a good old Big O hand.
Bill hasn't played too many hands tonight.
No, and yet he went to 750.
All of it's in.
And he's got, he's got a, and all AP has the uncounterfeitable low, but he's going to get it in. And Bill is at danger here, but a deuce comes and Bill is sitting pretty.
There's your deuce.
He's going to win a huge pot. He's got the nut low. So does AP, but he's got the nut high. He did have the nut high, and he's got the nut low. So it's just a 3/4 job.
There's your deuce of spades right off the.
Exactly. It's just one of those hands that Bill had a multi-way hand, even though he didn't have the nut low draw. He could still draw to it. And then once he hit it,
One of our viewers says, "Now I want to play. This has got me itching. Such great commentary." I don't know if he's joking or not, but we appreciate it. Anyone know how to play on Poker Bros so I can play against AP? AP is
whoever the guy is wants no part of AP on Poker Bros or Poker 2, as he can destroy you on those. A lot of setup hands on those.
I haven't gotten involved. I thank goodness I never got too involved with internet poker, although our title sponsor is America's Card Room, and I have played on that site. Great site, but I always said to myself, I'm going to make it a little harder on myself than to play in my underwear at home.
Yeah.
Because that gets dangerous.
Very.
If you don't have to roll out of bed to go somewhere to play,
It takes over your life. You'll spend 18 hours on your phone or iPad playing these things anymore.
right? But we do say if you are going to play, go to America's Card Room.
Yeah. Well, Poker Bros is definitely not a site. It's just an app.
1 minute. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up here at the Lodge Poker Club. We want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. Rick Epstein and Matt. Matt, your final thoughts.
Great night. I wish there was a little bit more action, and I wish the technical difficulties weren't what they were. But overall, enjoyed myself. Like these guys, like the commentating, and would love to do it again. I'd love to get more Big O live streams.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. We appreciate everybody, and we'll probably be signing off here, and maybe you'll see some of the action without us commentating. Thanks so much for joining us at Poker Night at the Lodge.